going live. All right. All right. Yo. What's going on, everybody? This is the Black Manga Critic here. We are finally live. All right. For the Hunter x Hunter discussion stream that I've been planning for way too long. Well, that we've been planning for way too long. We've been planning for way too long, but we're finally here.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. And I'm hyped. The hype is real. The hype is real right now.
Woo!
All right, so let us know, y'all.
Oh,
Let
yeah.
us know,
I
yo.
didn't know we dived in. Feel the hype.
Yo. So let us know, y'all, in the chat if you can hear everybody. If you can hear everybody, if the audio was good. If the audio was good, then we chilling, we live, we lit.
We move.
All right, we move.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see spiders in the chat, so I'm happy.
Hey. All right, so we're gonna do this is gonna be a pretty long stream, y'all. All right, it's gonna be a pretty long stream. A few people like Brago is going to try to make it. He had something come up, and so he's gonna try to make it. All right, so if he if he comes through, It's gonna be dope. And if he doesn't, then we all understand. All right, but we got quite a few people here. Some dope folks that are just really smart people, man. Just really smart folks out here, and know their hunter. All right. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about all the stuff. All right. It's gonna be quite the conversation, and we're gonna start with some intros. All right, just so y'all know who everyone is and what's going on. Y'all hopefully know who I am. If you don't, I'm the Black Manga Critic. Most people call me BMC. Just call me BMC in the future. And I love Hunter x Hunter. I love a lot of other things, but Hunter x Hunter is just one of those things where I want to talk about it like all the time. So I've been trying to get this stream to happen for quite some time, and I'm so happy that it's finally happening, and we're here. So let's get into it. All right. Who wants to go? Who wants to go first in terms of like introductions?
Should we go left to right from order on the screen?
Sure.
I think it's different for everyone.
Oh, got it.
So I'll go with what's on my screen. So on my screen,
Good idea.
On my screen, Whimsy will go next.
All right. So I'm WhimsyDearest. I'm basically a full-time nerd. I have a background where I studied a lot of medieval to romanticism art and literature, but I love pop culture in general and love talking about manga and anime and all that good stuff.
Dope.
Very
Your
cool.
channel, it's good.
Right. All right. Let's see. Next is Tails. Ready to go?
Yay. So I'm Tales of Color. You can find me on Twitter at Tales of Color, and I mainly talk about anime and manga there. Yeah. That's it.
Very nice. All right. Awesome. Okay. Next up is Japanimation World. Go for it.
Hey guys, it's Mike. I'm from Japanimation World. That's me. I am an anime manga fan, just like everybody in this panel and everybody that's watching. On Japanimation World, we talk about Hunter x Hunter in depth. We talk about basically all of the good stuff. So come on over to Japanimation World to see what I'm doing over here, but we're gonna get busy in this chat today.
Awesome. Okay, next up we got what do you want to go by? What's like the tag?
Who, me?
Besides, yeah.
Doncho, actually, Doncho.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Doncho.
Doncho.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what everybody calls me. My friends call me Doncho. Well, Doncho Lucille for what everybody know me as, but right now my at name is Chimera Garden. I'm pushing that Jujutsu Kaisen wave. I feel like it's a spiritual successor to Hunter because Gekko loves Yu, loves Hunter x Hunter, and loves level E. So I gotta push her or he. We don't know which one yet, but I gotta push him. I just love anime and manga. Hunter x Hunter is my all-time favorite. It's untouchable for me, and yeah, that's about it.
All right, awesome. Very nice. Okay, so we're moving on to my guy Ash. All right.
All right, so hey everyone, I think some of you will probably recognize me from a few of BMC's previous streams, but my name is Ash. I go by at KingCocoaButter on Twitter. I do reviews of anime, manga on my YouTube channel and on Twitter. That's mostly what I talk about all the time, and I'm excited to kind of do a deep dive into Hunter x Hunter today.
Nice. All right. Cool. Okay, and last but not least, we have
Otakette Alley.
Yep.
Oh man, I usually cannot say that. I made that, or I chose that word because I am a big otaku, but I didn't realize how much I wasn't an otaku and how much I was behind on anime and manga. And I started my channel doing reactions and I've been streaming with people, and I have experienced so much cool anime and manga that I haven't seen before or read before, and this has been great. And I just caught up on Hunter x Hunter, and it's close to being my number one. I still love One Piece. Is just I don't know.
I feel you on that.
But I feel like the stream is going to change that. I feel like it really is. But you can catch me on. Please do. Because I feel like there's things I didn't understand, and I wasn't in streams reading it with people, so I didn't have feedback like clarifying things for me. So I feel like you guys are going to be bringing things to light that I didn't see before, and I'm super excited. You can catch me on Twitter at Otakette A. It was supposed to be Allie, but they only gave me an A. And I'm on Instagram as well. I don't do much right now, but I plan on bringing solo leveling to my channel more.
Okay.
Definitely Jujutsu Kaisen. It's amazing. It's bread and butter right there.
Okay.
And ready to talk Hunter x Hunter with everybody. I'm super excited for this.
Yeah.
All right.
So Roger is gonna be coming through, y'all. So just so you know, RogersBase is gonna be coming through. All right, he's got some stuff he's doing at the moment, but he will be here. All right, to talk about that Hunter x Hunter greatness. All right. As we all again, Brago, I think is probably going to come through. We'll see. So shout out to those two. But it's gonna be lit. So let's start off with like sort of the question that like folks always ask in, anime streams where we're talking about a particular anime or manga that we love. Like, how did we get into Hunter x Hunter? Like, what was like where did we start? What happened? How did we all just become like Hunter x Hunter like stands? You know what I mean? Okay, so who wants to start? Anybody can start first. All right. We can just kind of go at it, and then we'll move on to the next stuff.
I'll go first.
Cool.
I got spoiled on Gone. P2 and Gone. And
no.
And I think this is why I love Hunter x Hunter more, is because I knew what was going to happen. I just didn't know what led up to it. So starting from the Hunter exam, I'm like, yo, how is it going to get to... I didn't even know what P2 was. I saw the episode. I was at my friend's house and she was playing the episode.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, this is Flames. And I was like, cool, okay. And I never watched it after that. It wasn't because, I didn't want to. It's just, it wasn't on my like radar like that. I just seen it. So then this year, I was like, Brago told me to read it. I seen everybody talk about how amazing it is. I heard about the Chimera arc and I wasn't ruined on it at all. And I'm grateful I wasn't either. So, I guess the Gone and the P2 thing, but everything else in that. So everything that led up to that made that moment even more impactful for me, that I was bawling. I'm like, dang, this is what really happened. For Gone. That's why Gone is probably my favorite main character of all time. I love him, I adore him, and I loved his story. And I see why he did what he did, and I understood it. So that's what happened, and that's how it got me into Hunter x Hunter.
That's a rough introduction.
It wasn't amazing to see, but I wasn't. You know how some people's like, "Oh no, I got ruined." No, I feel like it didn't feel like I got ruined. It felt like I got told like this. Like, I know Luffy's going to be the Pirate King. I just don't know how he, became it. The journey getting there is so much doper for me for Hunter x Hunter that I was like, yo, how did this little boy turn to a grown ass man? You know, when
Fair
did that
enough.
happen? And he didn't
I feel
turn
you
into
on
a
that.
man until that moment. I was like, oh, now I understand. Then after that, or like, then gets, you know, conditions and stuff like that. And with her dying, I was like, how is that possible? With the, yeah, it was amazing.
Wow, wow. Oh man. Okay. Anybody want to go next? Anybody want to go next?
I'll go. Oh,
Okay.
did animation want to go? JP Animation, did you want to go?
It's all good. I can wait. I'm
Okay.
patient.
I actually started Hunter x Hunter when it started in 2011.
Oh.
Oh,
And I was actually watching it weekly at 14. And it was not even probably, it was definitely the best weekly watch I've ever watched. It how I found it was, I don't know if anybody ever used Anime Fushigi back in the day, but
Oh wow.
that was a anime site back then where, you know, they had the big threes always at the top of their screen, always had an updating all the time. I just love their HUD and stuff like that, user interface. But I saw it when episode 1 dropped, and I didn't actually watch it. I was like a really casual back then, so I read the description and it didn't sound interesting. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna watch this right now. And I was a heavy Naruto and One Piece kid, so I just didn't watch it. And I think it was like 3 to 5 episodes in, and I was bored and had nothing really to watch. So I said I'm gonna start it, and I just never let it go. Like, I just couldn't put it down. And it was like every week, whenever I got because I didn't have a computer at home, so whenever I got a chance to get to a friend's house or like my grandmother's house, I had to make sure I caught Hunter x Hunter. Like, it was Naruto, One Piece, Hunter x Hunter. Like, I had to make those were my main 3 that I had to make sure I was on back in like 2011. So it was probably my favorite because of the powers and the characters. And because of the fact that when I first started watching it with the Hunter exam, I genuinely thought I was going to get an anime that didn't really have a power system. So I thought it was going to be like really skill set based, which I was really interested in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, okay, maybe people might have more archery skill, a sword skill. Like, I'm thinking of that type of aspect, you know. But then when we got to like Heaven's Arena, and then we got Nin, it just everything just took off. Like it was no stopping from there. Like, Togashi just knew where to go from there. Next. And then the Chimera Ant arc, watching that weekly, not knowing what's going to happen next, broke me. I mean, I was taken to levels of just like anxiety. Like, what was going on? I was like, this is crazy. At like 15, I'm like, bro, what is going on?
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Crazy. Yeah.
Oh,
It had
man.
to be
That's
amazing. Oh, you're so lucky. I love that.
This is interesting. I wonder if I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until everyone else goes, and then I'll
Sure.
say my piece. But go. Who wants to go next? Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, cool.
So pretty much for me, I'm a sucker for a good story. I'm always a sucker for a good story from any medium. But always leaning towards the anime and manga, always. And I came across Hunter x Hunter. I've always heard about it. I've heard about it for years. I've been in the anime and manga since the early 90s. And I've heard about Hunter x Hunter for years, but I never really knew about it. Because back in the day, we always heard about things through the grapevine, like before internet, stuff like that, or before internet was popular. And it was always through the grapevine. But in 2012 is when I randomly came across Hunter x Hunter online, watching this. I came across the series, and immediately from within the first 10 to 15 episodes, you can see great writing, great character writing, great storytelling just in those first 10 to 12 episodes. And that was my introduction. My introduction was I kind of stumbled across it just because it was a weekly shonen series that was being aired. And like I said, with me watching a lot of anime, I talk about a lot of anime. Me and my friends, we're anime fanatics. But something stood out about Hunter x Hunter. And before I knew anything about any of the hype that surrounds Hunter x Hunter in the anime community, I already knew that we had a fantastic superstar of a series. It was just a matter of time. So for me, I just stumbled across it in 2012, 2013. And at that point there, I'm 50 videos in talking about Hunter x Hunter, in 2019.
Wow.
So that's how I got into it. Love the series. It's in my top 3.
Dope. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Who is next? Tails or Ash?
Yeah, I'm going. Yay. So I got into Hunter x Hunter. It's weird kind of because when I got into it, I didn't know anything about it. And I didn't know not a single plot point, nothing. I think I got into it because I was checking out what Shonen Jump or the stuff had to offer. And I just started with the 2011 anime. And I don't know, I just really loved it. I just really thought that Gon was a kind of different protagonist, which got me hooked. And then the more characters got introduced, like Killua and I just wanted to know where their journey was headed. And yeah, and when it got to Chimera and Arc, I was just completely mind blown. And yeah, and then I think I became a fan, I would say. So that's my story with Hunter x Hunter.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, Ash.
So I think I'm the only one that kind of has a different story compared to everyone else. In that I initially got into Hunter x Hunter because when I first got into anime manga, I think everyone kind of dives into shonen first before exploring anything else. And that was pretty much the same for me. So when I first started, I was like, get into Naruto, you get into One Piece, you get into Bleach, you get into all that stuff. And then from there, it's kind of find out, all right, Hunter x Hunter existed. And a lot of people are talking it up as being, this phenomenal series. So I dived into the manga like in the early to late 2000s, I'd say. So I kind of just ran through it, way back then, ran through the manga, and I'm like, all right, this is an exceptional series. And then, but it's kind of hard back then because you're like, all right, without, I wasn't big into the forums and fandoms back then. So it's kind of hard for me to engage with other fans, kind of talk about the series. So I kind of fell off of it after a little while. Then after getting involved more in the fandom, I came back to it. I think I'm the only one that actually put off watching the anime for the longest time because I was just super lazy and I'm like, all right, I've already read the manga. Why do I need to watch the anime? And I finally kind of caved and did that this year. And that kind of reminded me of my love for the series again. So super excited to kind of talk about that today and just, shoot the shit with other fans.
That's a really cool story, man.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I should say veteran.
Because I feel the same way about like a lot of other animes. I kind of fell off like with the like I want to say like after 2008, I kind of just was in my own life, and then I just got back into anime. So I feel like I put off seeing Hunter x Hunter, and I'm mad that I did because I got spoiled. Damn it.
Oh man. I would say for me, like, it's funny because like I started with the 99 version. Like I remember like following that. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. And like I started with that. And oh man. It was odd because I remember like not starting with that, but yo, Roger, wait, hold on. We got to introduce Roger.
Of course, what's going on, everybody? I just saw the Twitter thing. I was like, oh, okay, there's the new hangout. Thankfully, good. I made it. I'm glad I looked.
Yo, all right, so we're just doing like, so we did intros, just like who we are and all that.
Sure.
So if you want to do that,
sure.
And then we'll move into the just like talking about how we got into Hunter x Hunter.
Sure.
Go for it.
All right. I'm Roger from the YouTube channel RogersBase. I got into Hunter x Hunter earlier this year. I started doing live reactions to the anime, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And now it's one of my favorite things of all time, and is maybe better than One Piece. But don't kill me! It's fun.
That's what I said.
Finally.
It's so hard to say.
Roger, I love it.
Genuinely, I've fallen in love with Hunter x Hunter. I just think it's great. I think Hisoka's an awesome character. Gon and Killua's friendship is everything. Even like side characters like Bisky, the Phantom Troop members. I mean, everyone's amazing. I love the series. What else is there to say about it? The Chimera Ant arc, beautiful. The that illuminates all Meruem, and then they play the music. I mean, oh my God. Everything about it. I adore it.
Love it. Oh, so good, so good. All right, so I was just saying before Roger hopped in, like, so I started with the 99 version, and it's interesting because I think like I remember watching like a clip. I was like, man, I'm trying to like find something like new to watch or whatever, because like I had just like I was like kind of, I guess, like caught up with One Piece, like when it was at I think I caught up to One Piece when it was around the end of Water 7. So right after that. So when they were talking about like the the New World and all that stuff. But I was trying to look for other stuff. And I happened upon like a clip, and I was like, folks really be like staying in Hunter x Hunter. I didn't really understand it because I didn't know anything about it. And I was like, Gonk looks kind of weird. Like he just it's weird.
The hair.
And I was like, all right, yeah. I was like, oh, who is this kid? And then like I watched a clip. I just put in Hunter x Hunter, and then like the first thing that popped up was Silver and Zeno versus Crollo, and I was like, what is it? And it was a 99 version. So I was like, all right, let me take a little peek. Let me take a little peek at this clip. See what's really good. And I watched like a little bit of it, and then I was like, oh no, I gotta stop now. Like I watched them use N. And I was like, I have no idea what this is. I don't even know how they're able to do any of this stuff. But like, I gotta go start watching the show to figure out like what's really good. So I started watching the 99 version, and I was like, man, this intro's kind of weird. It's a little too happy. I don't know, something's a little off. This seems off. So I started watching it, and then I got into it, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Then I saw Hisoka in the 99 version.
Isn't that how we all started? And then I saw Hisoka.
And that was pretty much it. And I was like, all right, this is dope. Like I loved it. Oh, so good. All right, no, go ahead. What's up?
Should me or Roger go next for how we discovered Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, awesome. Well, I guess I kind of started. I got started. I, first of all, did not know at all about Hunter x Hunter. It was happening while I was in college, and I was just a poor, sad, busy college student. But I was also on Tumblr, and I actually found out about a lot of amazing movies and shows from Tumblr, from the fan art and all the GIFs and all that. And I discovered Hunter x Hunter during the tail end of the Chimera Ant arc from Palm, Siberia. And I just absolutely love, I saw her Black Widow design and her like mermaid design. And I kept asking people, who is this lady? And like I kept seeing gifs of Palm saying, who God needs you the most, Killua. And I thought, okay, this looks like an amazing emotional series. So that's how I got started. So I just kind of binge watched it from there, and here I am.
Nice.
Cool.
That's interesting that you said that Palm was how you got into it too, because that's a character that's like relatively far into it, but that just happened to be the first thing that you saw on Tumblr. Wow. Yeah, for me, it was just my fans kept telling me, dude, you got to watch Hunter x Hunter, because and this is a weird thing. I'm exposing myself a little bit, but I've talked about this on stream before. I'm actually not as big of an anime and manga fan as I think everybody assumes that I am, because the majority of my content is anime stuff. It's just that the stuff that I like, I really, really like, and I like to talk about it a lot. And when I find something I really like, whether that's One Piece or My Hero or, Promised Neverland, anything, I really go full force into it. And so with Hunter x Hunter, I went in thinking, okay, I'm going to do like a reaction stream to the first couple episodes and see how I like it. And literally all it took was getting to Tompo with the diarrhea juice, and I'm like, I'm in. I like everything about this. I like the characterization. I like that it still has a little bit of humor in there, even though it still gets really dark. And then, of course, as you mentioned with Hisoka earlier, too, I think for me, that was the moment I was like, oh, okay, this is really much different than I was even expecting. It's not just your stereotypical shonen, like what's going on with this character. I need to know more about him. And then as the Hunter arc progressed, everyone was going, oh, you've just, scratched the surface of Hunter x Hunter now. Like, believe me, this isn't even the best arc. And I went, really? I've loved this. And then it went to Zoldyck. And then it went to Heaven's Arena. And by the end of Heaven's Arena, I had known that, like, okay, I think Hunter x Hunter has become one of my favorite anime of all time.
You're all in at that point.
All in. And then I just binged the rest of it. So
Nice. Very dope. Okay. Ah, man. I love. This is so good. It's so good. I'm so happy. I can't tell.
Right.
All right. So, so I think what we're gonna do is just kind of get into just like sort of like a general kind of conversation about like how we feel about the expedition stuff, the succession stuff, and then if you want to sort of get into like detail about like the entirety of it. Then like that'll sort of like give like we'll give like Roger the signal to be like, all right, cover your ears.
Sure.
Earmuffs.
Well, if there's anything,
Secret word is earmuffs.
we could do like 15 or 20 minutes of discussion about everything, and then I could bounce out and I'll jump over to Red Force because he was just DMing me being like, I need you to be on because we had to delay this. And obviously I'm sorry to Eric and everybody at Red Force podcast. Hunter x Hunter takes priority today. All right.
Yes.
Hunter takes priority. I'm sorry.
All right, cool. So let's do it. So let's do like 15, 20 minutes. And of just like general discussion, and then we'll get into like the nitty gritty and get into all the stuff that people
right on.
Yes, perfect.
All right, so I guess like maybe Roger, like maybe like we'll start with you and see like how you feel about it.
About what? I mean, where do you want me to begin?
Maybe start with the just like the expedition stuff because I feel like that's at least to me, like, it's super, super interesting.
Sure.
And it kind of, like, sets a tone for, like, what we know, like, for what to come.
Sure. Yeah, when I finished the Hunter x Hunter anime, right, and we got that last scene where, Gon's dad is telling him it's about the journey and not the destination. I forgot what the exact quote is, and I like that quote, though. I immediately was like, oh, I got to go read the manga. Like, enjoy the little detours in life. Exactly. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go read the manga. And I get into the manga, and we start off this succession expedition, whatever you want to call it, and immediately you're introduced to Beyond Netero. And I think that was such a smart decision on Togashi's part, or on the part of I don't know what the timeline is because I got into it really late, but on the part of ending the series when they did the anime series, because then when you're reading the manga and you get into Beyond Netero, it's like you just finished the series. Netero just passed away. We just had the new chairman. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, but anyway, he still lives on. Here's this other character. And he's already built up as like such this monster where even the Zodiacs are afraid of him and they don't know really what he wants to do. And then you see more of Jin. You see Jin talking to Periston. And, I know there's a lot of people, we had this discussion during my arc ranking stream. There's a lot of people who really like Periston. For whatever reason, for me, his character didn't click until the beginning of that expedition arc. And then when he starts interacting with Jin and you see that there's actually like substance to him, that's really when I started to like that character. But I mean, everything up to this point, I mean, all this stuff with Succession and Kurapika, I love that character. Yorkinu is one of my favorite arcs in the series. And, so the more that we get of him, the better, I feel.
Facts.
He's a good boy.
Yeah.
He is a good boy.
He be doing the most, but we kind of get it. Like, we kind of get why he's doing the most. Like, we understand it. But like, I would agree in terms of the Beyond stuff. I feel I don't know if anybody was expecting that like at all. Like nobody was like, oh, okay, here comes this dude who like kind of looks cleaner than Netero and like is kind of cool. Like
or like Prime Netero possibly. Like,
right.
Up there. Well, not Prime, but
I mean, I found the whole moment where Netero himself says in the video recording that his own son may be a more fit hunter than he. I found that whole dialogue to be so amazing. Like, even when Miser Storm brought up, when he brought it up and was like, I think Netero even thought that his son was going to come and kill him one day. I think that whole, diving into that logic of Netero even after his death is just an amazing thing by Togashi, where he's not even really dead. And even the Zodiac say that themselves, where it's like it doesn't even feel like he's gone. He's giving us orders from the grave. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's such an amazing. I like that dynamic too.
And how does it How does anybody else feel about so we can talk about the expedition stuff. Like, how do you feel about the expedition stuff so far?
Well, really quick for Beyond Netero, I have like a little bit of a theory about him, especially with the point that he just brought up, where he said that they mentioned that Netero's that Beyond Netero was going to that Netero thought that Beyond Netero was going to kill him someday, or come and try to kill him someday. And I have a theory about the Chimera Ant art and with the Ant Queen and where she actually came from. And I think that Beyond Netero has something to do with it due to his drive and want to get to the Dark Continent so badly. I think that he is one of the people that's part of the orchestration of everything that led up to us going to the Dark Continent, because this Dark Continent and this whole trip is set up. It's so well thought out, and it's so set up from the standpoint of the players, such as the princes and everybody that's involved, that it's not something that you could have prepared for in a year. They knew that this was going to happen. So because they knew this was going to happen, that means that they knew Netero had to die, and they knew that ban had to be lifted. And I believe that Beyond is directly involved with that, based off the simple fact that because he walked in and gave himself up and put himself in prison, shows us that he's thinking 50 steps ahead of everybody else. Right. So for him to plan out the Dark Continent and the Chimera Ant Queen and everything that led up to where we are now, I think it's fair game for him. It's an easy thing to do.
And you bring up a good point too, is it's fascinating thinking about, the lead up with the Chimera Ant stuff, because it's like they gave us this sliver of, information about the Chimera Ants that, they're super powerful and they breed, and then they grow even stronger and they eat humans and all this. And you find out all this information, you go, wow, this is really like definitely the meanest characters that we've seen in the series so far, power wise, even like personality wise, because they're animals, they're beasts, they're not really humans. And the whole arc is really about finding their humanity. So you get through that story arc, and then I think it's just so brilliant that you get to the top of the tree and then Jin reveals to you. It's almost like that scene at the very end of Iron Man, like when Tony Stark gets visited by Fury. Thank you. I'm terrible at Marvel names. Right, when Nick Fury goes up to Tony Stark and he's like, "Oh no, you're part of like a much bigger universe, Tony. You just don't know it yet." That's exactly how it feels when Jin is like, "Oh yeah, there's all this world out there going. You've experienced just a sliver of it." And then of course when you get the information too about like the other great beasts in the Dark Continent, right? Like whatever Aluka is. Like I know they named that thing, but Aluka or the snake, all these other weird, interesting creatures.
Yes.
I think your theory is pretty accurate too, in terms of when Jing was talking about when he ran into Periston, when he went after their base or whatever and said he wanted to join in on what they had going on. And I think because Jing said to him, he was like, "You guys have been clearly planning this for 10 plus years," and it made him upset that he was trying to get ready for all of this and all of this was already going on. But I wasn't far off, They
were preparing for something that hadn't even happened yet. Exactly. So from the outside looking in, it was like, what are they doing? What's going on? It's home.
Back to your theory about the Chimera Ant Queen. It was, I don't know who said it. I was watching a bunch of videos after I caught up. Somebody said that because Beyond Netero already went to the Dark Continent, he could have brought back or somehow let he had to have something to do with the Chimera Ant Queen. Sure. It wasn't like a papoose, like you got to bring it back, like they send it back with you. It was like something she got away from there somehow.
And he's clearly
no, I don't think she got away. She was planted. Because they needed.
It could have been planted too.
I thought she came up on shore, or at least that was.
She didn't wash up, but she could have been easily thrown into the water, and they knew she was going to survive. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Whimsy wanted to say something.
And by the NGL, like, was that on purpose?
Right? Well, yeah, because they needed to get rid of Gyro as well. Because
that's a whole. That's a whole.
Hold up.
Can I say something?
Oh, of course. Go ahead.
All right. I will say, if you listen or like read closely and look into the conversation Jing had with Periston, he accuses Periston of dumping the Chimera ants onto the world. Yeah. So he basically did that to leverage the Hunters Association and increase interest into the Dark Continent. However, I will say I believe like Periston genuinely didn't want Netero to die in that situation, because he gets visibly upset during the election arc and saying like he cries in front of Cheadle. So I think he thought of like Netero as a big like play toy, and he was trying to mess everything up by bringing the Chimera ants. And somewhere there's a quote that like somewhere I found it. You're a baby crying for attention. If the association became boring to you, you'd find a new playmate. The quickest way to find one is to dump the Chimera ants into the world. So I feel like he was the one who somehow orchestrated the Queen, whether that was with Beyond's help, but he was one of the masterminds behind that.
And
See,
he's
I
so
thought that. Wait. I thought that he meant that the 900 or the him dumping the Chimera ants was the ones that he got from the where Miriam and them were.
Okay.
All the other
it has
trees.
them too.
So he was going to dump
like
those in the
leftovers,
world.
all the different.
I'm forgetting all the words. I'm forgetting all the words.
To be
I'm tired.
fair, I feel like the Chimera Ant arc and all the stuff afterwards, it's like it's so packed with information that if you forget something, you can't feel bad about it. It's like
I'm like forgetting words,
so much stuff.
I knew he like got all of them after it happened, and then that's what Ging was probably talking about, was that you got all of them, you can unleash them on the world, but I need to figure out what you're doing on the way to the Dark Continent.
Right. Do you guys think that they're going to be unleashed though? Because the way that I read that, as soon as you brought it up, like I was reminded of that.
Yeah.
The way I took that was that he is going to unleash them like it's the Hunters Association's own army. Like, you know how we have oh my God, the bat thing that was the little kid, Colt. Like how we have Colt and we have Ecalgo and we have all these good Chimera ants, that it was almost like Periston was going to use the Chimera ants that were left over, like from the destruction, and that he would use them as the next army of the Hunter Association.
See, and I was worried that it was going to be like his personal army.
No, it is.
Acquired them with his own money. You remember that?
They are.
Harrison sent, he illegally sent a few Hunter blimps and people to go get these things.
He's so bad, dude.
Everything is
nightmare.
It took these 5,000 ants, which can use Nin, and what Jing realized was that he was going to try to throw them in the next Hunter Association. The next Hunter exam. Because Cheadle was going to use the Hunter exam to figure out who they were going to take to the continent, right?
And that's why he told her to change that real quick.
Right. Periston felt like that's not what Netero would do. Netero would say, screw the V5, find our own way to get there, and then show Beyond, the race is on. We're going to explore this without you and before you. That's how he felt Netero would handle it. So he was like, so his way of counteracting that was, I'm going to get these ants and spice it up and drop them at the Hunter exam. But Jing wasn't going to let that happen. He realized he couldn't let it go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
Ash, and Tails, you got anything? Got any thoughts on the expedition stuff?
No, everything has been covered so far. No.
I have a quick question for you guys, if you don't mind.
Sure. Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Ash, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I'm probably the only one's gonna be the outlier on this. And when we got introduced to Beyond, my first initial reaction was like, all right, this is kind of bullshit. What the hell is Togashi doing with this?
Oh, interesting.
But then I'm thinking about like going through it, I'm just like, you know what? It makes perfect sense though. Netero being the asshole he always was. It's just like, I have the secret son that, that's doing all this, black market shit in the background. And I'm not going to tell anyone about him until, I'm dead and gone. And then I'll just secretly reveal that, hey, I have a son. He's been to the Dark Continent. He's probably going to screw things up for you. So have fun.
With one last middle finger.
Okay, cool. And all right, so I think.
I got one. I got one.
Go ahead.
I got another thing.
Go ahead.
Don Freeze. We did not speak on him yet.
Man.
Yes.
The East and West books. Oh.
Yeah.
Yo.
Another
that.
Zig Zodic.
Zig.
What about
facts?
Zig Zoldyck, I'm really interested in him, and if his connection, if he's
Yeah.
connected to Aluka, I'm
So-
really
Yes, which one brought
It's gotta be,
Aluka?
right? It has to be because they talked about Aluka as if Aluka was like this curse upon the family, and I'm sure it is because we know that Aluka comes from whatever that monster thing is that came from the Dark Continent. So it's interesting how they're going to put that into the the story to write it in like, oh no, it wasn't a curse. It's Zig did something nasty, and that's what brought Aluka into the world in the first place.
And isn't there like one more Zoldyck between Zig and Xeno?
I think there might be. Yeah, I think there might be.
Because I was trying to figure out like if Zig came back, then how, like which one? Because Nanika is how old? Well, not Nanika. Aluka is how old? Is he almost
6?
The appearance of what?
She's like 6.
11, I think. Aluka is 11.
And when
Look that up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
and Ziggy went when they were younger. If you looked at Netero, and
Even
it
look at
had to be
Ziggy, he
Xeno's
was young.
dad, unless I don't know.
We
That's what's throwing me off.
He was told Xeno's dad's name. We only know his granddad, which is Maha. So it's
Maha,
like,
yeah.
Oh, I forgot about Maha.
yeah, all we know is Maha.
Yeah, he showed up for a minute with his little short self, and jeans, just chilling with his big head.
Yo, whoa, man. One thing that's really, to me, that's like great about the expedition stuff is like Togashi's just going into like his like politics bag. He's like, y'all better know about like just douchey like imperialist countries doing the absolute most constantly.
He's
like,
bringing it to our subconscious so that we as younger generation is aware of this stuff, and I love it. He's done it on purpose.
Well, I mean, if you think of how progressive Togashi is, it really is incredible because when it was first written, right, like the Hunter x Hunter Aluka Nanaka arc was in 2011 in the anime, and thinking of what's coming to the forefront now politically and socially, talk like LGBT rights and pronouns and all this stuff, like the fact that he included the Aluka Nanaka thing in there, like even down to the fact where like the other siblings would call Aluka he and refer to his brother. And, Killua's going, no, that's my little sister. She's great. Like, all you guys, screw you guys. The fact that he does that to specifically show you that Killua is the kind-hearted one and that the family doesn't have her best interests in heart, I think is really fascinating. And I think is a big reason why it's so timeless and why a lot of people really connect to it still today.
Even in Yu Yu
I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm not
Yu
so
Yu Hakusho, there was a moment where Yusuke ran into a transvestite and was fighting them, and he actually touched their genitals to see if it was a man or a woman. And after he discovered the original gender, which happened to be a man, he actually said to them, if you're going to be a woman, you need to go all the way, fully change your sex. So when you think about that and what's going on now with males or changing themselves and being progressive, it's crazy how Togashi was saying this back in 1994. You know what I'm saying?
But you see how his viewpoints probably expanded to where he didn't make Nanaka or even have to specifically like say you gotta change or like show me or anything like that.
Right.
We just accepted it for what it was.
Exactly. There was no scene ever in Hunter x Hunter. Like it'd be different. I think if that was written today, it'd be like they would write it out very obviously, like, oh, see, Killua refers to me by the pronoun she, and that's what I want to be called. Like that doesn't happen in the story here. They're not trying to like push it to the forefront. It's just there. It exists. And I think that's a big problem with media today. A lot of media today is things that are quote unquote progressive. And it's progressive in, oh, we need to call attention to the fact that we did this, right? Like look at the new Beauty and the Beast, for example, where they were like, oh, we have this gay character. Like, look at
but I would say it's really no. I have to stop here. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I think I have a different viewpoint on this, and with Beauty and the Beast, it's pretty on the nose, and people, they're not doing it. It's not LGBT people trying to create LGBT content.
No. It's
like
the media, or like
I would say it's
Hollywood.
rainbow capitalism. to get because to get LGBT people to watch this movie. I wouldn't say it's progressive or anything. It's representation done.
It's
wrong.
pandering in a way.
Yeah, it's pandering.
It's like I want you to watch
this. I agree with you though, right? That's my point. Is that is pandering? Like the stuff that Disney's doing is pandering. We don't disagree at all. My point is that what Togashi does, the way that he introduces it, is natural, and I feel like media today should follow what Togashi's been doing for a decade.
And even the moment where Godo asks Killua, "Why do you have Canary with you?" And he's like, because she's a girl, and I can't take up Aluka because Aluka's a girl. Duh. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Right.
Like that's perfect.
I want Killua and Canary to get together. That's the only. I stand that with my heart.
I stand it.
Okay, just because you said that, I have a theory, and I just want y'all to sit on this.
Let's hear it.
Kite, Killua, and Canary went to Meteor City because of Gyro is now at Meteor City, and Canary said that one day she would show Killua around and give him a tour, and I think Kite will want to go back because he has to go after Gyro, and I think they would join him, and Canary would too. That's just my head.
Okay, I always thought you were about to take that somewhere else.
No,
I'm with it. I'm with it.
I always just think about that randomly whenever I think of Killua and Canary. I just think that one day we need an arc where she is literally taking him to Meteor City like she said she would, and I think the Gyro stuff would be the perfect reason for that.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I will say, I do ship Canary with, I think it's Amane, the other butler girl.
That too.
She calls her, she's like, "Oh, you're cute," and she blushes.
Makes you
so
blush.
I do ship them.
That is cute.
I agree with
They're
both
cute
ships.
That is really cute.
Do you think Gyro's gonna be the last, the final villain?
It sure seems like it.
Oh, maybe.
It's how Togashi said that one day they would meet. Like he made it seem like it was some destiny type of thing.
Right.
He made it seem like what Gyro was this super, super true, pure evil, and that him and Gon's interaction would be some really big thing. That's how he really made it seem. But I don't know.
I was fascinated by the fact that they cut that out of the anime, because then everybody told me when I started reading it, "Oh, you gotta reread that chapter because he brings up, that Gon and Gyro will meet one day."
Yeah.
And it does seem like something like you said, where it's almost like on a destiny type thing, right? It's like they're meant to meet at one point, and it's going to change everything that we know about the series. And I think the only reason they maybe chose to exclude it in the actual anime was because if you watch the anime by itself, it does kind of have a nice conclusion. Gon achieves his goal, right? He's the hunter. He found his father by the end of it. And I think if they would have included that extra little Gyro thing, there's a lot of people who maybe would have watched it as a standalone thing who then wouldn't have felt fulfilled, because then they'd be like, well, what the heck happened with Gyro?
Or they could have put it at the end of the anime, like, "Oh, it could come back. This is Gyro walking away and Gon's future." You know how they get tied up.
Like a prelude image.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
I will say it's fascinating. I believe he's in Meteor City, correct? While the spiders are away from their home base.
Yeah.
So if there are some surviving members, I would love to see that confrontation, because just the spiders going against the Chimera ants was fantastic, and I want more of them, but we'll see how many survive.
That was so good.
So good.
I just think that the concept of like how the ants, I don't remember. I got to rewatch how who was talking. Was it Morel that was talking about, or how the ants reproduce and how the hierarchy goes and what happens after Marion?
It was Colt explaining it to Morel. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I actually have that scan.
Oh, there you go.
Cool. But I loved how like it explained like exactly what was going to happen in that arc in a subtle way, that like this is how the ants usually do things, and then we see it play out. And with Gyro going to become his own king, we're getting what he's probably going to be what Meruem was at this point. But because of after the Dark Continent, we're gonna come back. I feel like I want Gon to have a time skip, Killua have a time skip, that at the point where they have to go to Meteor City and have to deal with Gyro, we're going to see how this army that he's built, and it's just, I hope that ties up. I
And
hope that
it
ties
would be
up.
fascinating. And this is like, obviously, you guys are going to talk about it more after I leave. But
Yeah.
I just got to Crollo coming onto the ship during today's live stream, which is an amazing moment. And to me, it seems like at some point, Crollo and Kurapika have to meet on the boat.
Yes.
And right now,
That's
I mean, it's going to have to happen. And at some point, we know Kurapika is going to want to kill Serendic. And I feel like Crollo's probably going to want to fight Kurapika. And Kurapika obviously is out for Crollo's blood because of all this stuff with the Scarlet Eyes. But if he beats Serendic, or he can't beat Serendic with this, Nen genius power that he has or whatever, that he'll team up with Crollo to take him down and then be like, well, now that all the eyes are back with me, now I can deal with all of you. And one by one takes down the Phantom Troop, which then ultimately, like you said, brings us back to Meteor City. And once again, everyone is in one place, right? Because then that would get him to go to Meteor City to take down the rest of the Phantom Troop, and Gon and Kilo could go there to take care of Gyro.
I agree. If Kurapika don't die on this boat, I'm gonna be honest with you.
If he makes it off the boat, then I'll consider that.
That's true. That's
Roger, I'm not gonna spoil for you, but you're gonna get to a point where you're like, Kurapika, what are you doing?
And I'm very much looking forward to that moment.
Nah, he's not being killed on that boat. I don't see how that's happening at all.
That Emperor time stuff is wild, though, where like every second he loses 10 hours of his life. It's like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, but I
I thought that was because of the dolphin. Is it when he uses the dolphin?
That's when he uses that's when he uses the Scarlet Eyes at all.
Time Emperor ability whenever it's activated, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dang, that's cool.
Dolphin.
But Melody and Leorio need to slap him silly. But I feel like I'm hoping that he's going to be so focused and attached on like protecting Wobble. Like I believe there's like a panel that says I've given up revenge or something while he's holding the baby. He's going to be challenged on that, but he can redeem himself and possibly survive if he focuses on just being a bodyguard.
I think he should, because that moment he had in York New where he realized, look, I could really kill Crollo if I wanted to, but I need to get going and kill her back. I'm not losing.
Right. Right.
I hope that begins to really start to hit him. You know what I'm saying? Like it really starts to, because Leorio's on this boat. Like I really hope, because it doesn't look good for him right now.
Well, it would be super sick if he set a condition, because he sets the conditions with his Nen chain. It'd be sick if he could set a condition on Crollo to be like, you have to help me kill this guy. Which would be
really sort of law, probably.
That would be so cool.
That would be.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's going to be like so many calamities and problems that I'm really hoping that they're kind of morally gray. Like they've sometimes helped people and done charity. So they're like the wild card group that could potentially help the Hunters Association if need be.
Yeah. So what I want to do is maybe just like have like, give like Roger a chance to kind of talk about like some of the succession stuff that he's seen so far.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Like we can always come back to the expedition stuff, like, because there's so much there too.
I was going to say, you guys probably talk for hours about that. I'm going to, I'll be out of here.
But how do you feel about sort of like the sort of like setup of the succession arc, with like, with the jar and like the
Nen beasts and all that. I find it kind of fascinating, honestly. It's a different take on Nen. I think like Nen is just such a cool power grouping. Like if you look at all the other power leveling and so many other shonen, there aren't really as many rules to it. And sometimes things get convoluted, like that happens a lot in One Piece. Whereas here, I like that outright from very early on, they were like, Nen is a bunch of different stuff. And you can't look at one person's Nen power and say, oh, you can power level them and say they're stronger than this other person, because it's not always going to work out that way. And I think this arc like really proves it when you've got these little kids in certain situations, these princes with these massive Nen beasts behind them. And I mean, some of these characters, like Serendic in particular, is the scariest one to me.
Fantastic.
He's got like a head inside of this giraffe neck horse thing with like a whip tail. I mean, it's fascinating to see how the beasts almost represent like their personality in a way, right? Where, what's Sail, like the guy who's just all about getting laid. Like his is just this giant disco ball looking thing that shoots out stuff. And then you've got
Party in the house.
the third prince who his Ned Beast thing looks like the final boss of a Kirby game. It's just like a giant plate. Like, I really want to know more about the power sets of these Nen Beasts. And I'm also curious, once we start seeing these princes die, I'm sure some of them have died in the manga, like beyond where I am, but I'm saying once we actually start seeing them die, like how the Nen Beasts, like if they just evaporate or if the Nen Beasts still exist without the user, and what's that going to mean for Nen, and with the Nen after death stuff that we were introduced to with Crollo and Hisoka's fight. It's just really fascinating stuff.
All right. You're absolutely right about everything you're saying. It's amazing. And I want to point out about Tsuritnik and his abilities, or not necessarily his abilities, but his Nen Beast. Now, you've seen it already, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
it's terrifying. I saw it today and I didn't know what to expect.
She's beautiful.
Oh.
One of the scariest horse things I've ever seen in my life.
So if you look really, really closely at that Nen Beast, it looks like the people that we've seen him with. Those faces. Now,
the women, or
I was curious. Maybe
yes,
this is a spoiler. Maybe I don't want to know this, but I was curious about the head inside of the head, like the head that's in the mouth of the creature. Is that Kurapika's like friend?
It
that he was
sure does look like there's no spoiler
eyes.
that confirms that at all.
It looks like
it is purely just like, yes, theoretically, it looks just like him.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I think.
Wow.
Oh,
Yo, that's gonna be wild. Yo, I just had so many things just pop in my head because of that.
He's gonna be pissed. Like he's gonna be pissed.
And I think that has something to do with his Nen Beast ability, but I can't talk about that because he hasn't seen anything yet. So I
can't wait.
We'll save it for later, but there's a pun on the two-head thing.
His apparently my friend sent this to me. I think it was like maybe 2-3 months ago, but there's actually a mythical goddess. I can't remember what it falls into, but she's actually looks just like his freaking Nen Beast. And I can't think what it does. I can't think what she does before Roger, but the lore of the god matches what the ability does. So Togashi's
what's the name of it again?
So like, you know how Tessei's thing is that woman with the body of a whatever it is? You know what I'm saying? That's an actual mythical god. I forgot what pantheon it's from, but in her name. But my friend sent it to me, and it wasn't even much info on it on Wikipedia. But there's a real thing, and her lore matches the ability that Togashi matched with Tessei. So it's really
interesting.
Oh yeah, well Togashi uses a lot of history.
Yeah,
a lot of history in his stories.
It's a pantheon I did never recognize, which made it so cool. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, I was just trying to check that down because that's cool. It's super
really cool.
I know Whimsy. She shouts out to Whimsy who put out a really great Succession War video.
Thank you.
Check that out.
Watch that video.
I would definitely check that out.
I definitely want to see that.
I mean, like, cause I know, like she's been really good about sort of mentioning like little like sort of like inserts, like art inserts, and maybe like because I feel like this is sort of like related in a lot of ways, like what we're all sort of talking about, like the relation to like allusions to outside,
he breaks the fourth wall a lot in this arc.
Very cool. What was I gonna say?
I just added this to watch later, so as soon as I catch up, it's where's the Succession War headed Hunter x Hunter theory video you just put up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Adding it to my watch later queue right now.
But I do talk about mythological influences.
Interesting.
Oh man, so that's cool. But no, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't know. I'm not gonna cut nobody off. Who's going?
I think I was just gonna say I think I want to sort of hear like everyone else's sort of like thoughts on just like sort of how the Succession War just sort of like begins, like that sort of transition from the expedition into like meeting the princes, getting on the boat, like all that stuff, and also just like how sort of like Hisoka versus like Cruella sort of plays into that, like just like the sort of seamless nature of it almost. maybe we'll just like save like Ahsoka versus Corolla and like think about our thoughts in terms of the relationship between that and the Succession War like for a bit later. But like maybe just talk about like this sort of start of the Succession War, like talking about the introduction of the princes. How did you feel about the introduction of those princes? Like how Togashi did that.
All right, so for me, you can go ahead. You can go first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off. You sure?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, I was just going to say that I like them all. I like the fact that each one of them is different, but they all have their own means. But you know what the real princes that I'm interested in are the illegitimate princes.
Oh, Morena.
We can't get into that yet. We can't get into that yet.
Wait.
Oh, Roger, you not there?
Wait,
Well,
is he gone?
I didn't know there's illegitimate princes, but I know for a fact. I know
You don't know that.
Folks, it's too
You
hard.
don't know that.
I've talked. No. What I'll say, I've talked enough. What I'll do, I'll hop out now. You guys talk about it. I'll go hop on a Red Force, and then I'll just find out the rest of it later. But I've added the Succession War video to the queue, and you guys can start talking about princes and things. I actually didn't know there was an illegitimate one, but that makes things more. That's a good enough. No worries. It's a good enough tease for me to be like, oh, okay, want to keep me reading? That's good.
Well, hey, Roger, before you go, what's your thoughts on the Hisoka versus Corolla fight and Corolla using 10 nin abilities at once?
I'm gonna say one thing, and this is gonna be the last thing I say. It's the one thing I'm gonna say. The greatest fight in all of Shonen.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Roger. I appreciate you.
All right, take care, you guys.
See you, man.
See you later.
Yo. Okay, so all right.
What are we gonna talk about first?
I think we gotta talk about I think we gotta talk about the princes. We gotta get into that. Definitely. We gotta get in depth.
I love
Yo, is fourth Prince Diavolo? Please, somebody explain that to me. Is this dude Diavolo?
Diavolo.
Not.
Crimson is back.
I feel like that has to be like an influence on Togashi's part.
He did it twice too with the
you know what I mean?
What's his name? Hockenberg trying to shoot himself. Another JoJo reference.
Yes.
Yeah. Facts.
Wait. Oh yeah. You talk about when Jotaro tried to shoot himself with the Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yo, the way that Theta was shook during that, I was scared I was sweating. I was sweating myself.
Because apparently, like I was saying before, that mythical goddess or whatever, she literally, her thing is you can't lie to her. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I think you can only lie to her 3 times and then you become a part of her.
No. You become
no longer
something that's not human. Yeah, you're no longer human. You're going to live. You're just going to be something like worse.
Based on those familiar faces being a part of her body, it leads me to believe that you become a part of what that creature is, whatever that creature is, and because those women that Saritnik was with, faces are a part of that creature. And Kurapika's friend looks like his face is inside the mouth of that creature. So, it's just, I think that if you lie to the creature, any more than 3 times is when it's all over. And it looked like Theta her face started to transform. But the artwork was inconsistent because it wasn't like that on every frame going forward. But it seemed like that was the point of that situation was that she got one more lie before whatever is going to take effect.
I thought that's the first time she got caught with the lie. She just been staring at her the entire. That was the second.
That was the second time. Yeah.
She lied about how quickly people can gain the ability to use Nen. Then she lied about attempting to kill him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's twice.
Ooh,
yeah.
Pray for Theta.
I really adore her.
Yeah. She's tried her best, man.
Really smart too. I mean, I think that Theta will end up making it to the Dark Continent. I think that she's going to make it because Saritnik's going to make it to the Dark Continent.
I don't think he's gonna make it, man. I think he's gonna get handled before they touch down.
Yeah.
I think
He has
I think his
to
powers are crucial for the survival on the Dark Continent.
pray for Theta.
Oh, is that
Yes.
like auto-tune?
I'm really
Okay, I didn't
Wait,
know if
is
that
my
was
mic okay?
intentional.
No.
We got like a little bit of a auto-tune singing going on there.
Oh,
For Pray
no,
for
that's-
Theta.
I saw
looks great,
BMC
though.
put it in the chat.
Yeah.
So
Oh, what? Oh,
no, go
I
ahead.
will say, I think it's funny that Cierny says that he loves two-faced women now.
Yes.
Like before, he said to I think right after his phone call with Benjamin that the thing he hates most in the world is a lying woman, and now he's a little bit intrigued by Theta. So now he's turned around and says he loves two-faced women. And the funniest thing is that his Nen Beast like has multiple heads, so in a way, it's a two-faced woman.
Like, is this Nen Beast reflecting his favorite kills, possibly? Like the kills that
it
he
does
made
reflect
is like
the user's soul, I feel like.
It does. It's supposed to, which is why I'm really interested in Wobble. I'm really interested in what's going to happen with Wobble.
Oh, you're right about that. I agree with that.
Wobble has already been shown to be conscious of what's going on around her. So it's like I just want to know.
She's a psychic baby.
she's smart. She's Jorno.
What's the
What happened?
I'm trying to figure out what her Nimbies could possibly be, because I think it's going to be a big key, and also too Karapika beating Tessa, because I don't think he can't do it on his own. He can't. It's just not going to happen.
Could it kind of be like non-physical, just like a force field, kind of like how Kacho's Nen Beast didn't have a form until after death? I'm wondering if it's going to be a weird abstract guardian beast, like just a protection field.
Or what if it's like a Wobble can give, like it's the one thing that's gonna help Karapika through this, and this is why he was meant to be with Wobble. It was like his nin, like which prince is it? Is it the fifth prince with the coin popper out there?
I think so.
It's kind of like that situation where it's not like there's no physical substance of like this is what you get a coin. You being around me caring for you, I'm automatically protecting you somehow, some way.
I can't wait until we find out what those coins are for.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
so complicated.
What is those coins doing? He's like, every day one pops out, and I don't know what this does, but we just gonna hold them. Here, you can have it. You hold this one, and he just keeps giving them out.
In a way, doesn't the guardian beast like not only reflect their soul, but their ultimate desire? Like I think Camilla wanted to win and survive, like be the last one standing, so that's why her cat Nen Beast like grants her another life if she dies.
1,000 lives.
And that's why Cacho was
ultimate
okay with
desire.
dying. That's why Cacho was okay with dying and coming back to protect her sister. She wanted to die in order to protect her sister, and that's ultimately what her Nen Beast did.
Yep.
Saddest Nen ability.
Yo, that my heart.
Yeah,
I love
that chapter.
When Togashi's editor said that we was going to get in some emotional chapters, I was like, okay, let me see what this is about. But when we got that, I was like, man, this hit different. Like that was sad.
And pray for Melody because she's with the fourth prince. Somebody protect Melody.
Wait,
Karapika ain't gonna be happy when he finds out about that.
I thought Melody's under protection by the Hunters Association right now because they know all the princes are interested in her ability, right? Isn't she locked up, like being interrogated?
She's still gonna meet him some way, somehow. He interested in her. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
All of the princes aren't aware of Melody's ability. Like Saritnik was able to slightly figure it out, and with the people in the background that was running around figuring it out. But I don't think all of the princes are aware of what Melody can do.
They were in a trance state. Oh, I think the thing that's happened was he was in Zetsu, so it was like astral spectating and outside of his body to see what happened.
Yeah, but it was really his guard that figured it out, because it was his guard who ran in and was like, all of this kind of happened when that song played on the speaker. And now, and the funny thing is that Melody, I think, is has one of the most underrated abilities,
Yes.
Facts.
You can if somebody had an ability that was activated by sight, you can counteract that by closing your eyes. Try not hearing me. And with Melody's ability, that she can realistically, in combination or in conjunction with other powerful abilities, can be one of the most deadliest tag teams in all of Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
I feel what's also interesting is that she listened to the Devil's Sonata or whatever you call that music piece. And Tierney is probably going to be interested in learning how that tune goes.
Yeah, let's get him that book now.
He's
so
a collector.
He can hear it. Yeah, he needs to hear it.
Send him to hell.
Like, hey, do you want to hear this nice song?
I'm going to play a little tune for you. But I'm worried that that's going to be like a Hail Mary, like suicide move on Melody's part to kill Tierney.
I think you're right.
Because she remembers how to play it, you know?
I think she knows a part. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's so powerful, even if you have, like, one instrument and, like, one measure, one part of it. It, like,
yeah, because then her friend only played one part and he, like, died. And then she played one part and it was, like, got effed up. Yeah.
It deformed her body.
Yeah.
It completely changed her.
Oh, cool. So one thing I really kind of want to talk about it, and that it's gonna sound really, I guess, I kind of like effed up, but like I really appreciate sort of the way in which, like, there was a point where folks were kind of like, "Yo, when is Tagashi gonna kill one of these princes?" And then Tagashi just started like taking them out. He was like, "All right, Marty, out of here, Sally, out of here."
All right, so let's talk about Sally.
I'm gonna change the world.
One thing I will say is
taking them out.
One thing I will say is I actually, that's how I know I've hit official stand mode. I know everybody complain about them text walls, but I be digging them text walls. So
I know, me too. I just can't comprehend it on the first, second, or 10th read. I could get it on the 30th, possibly.
Yeah, see, with
so much.
The text wall that everybody shied away from most recently was during the Rihan and Saleh situation, when Rihan used his predator ability and when he was explaining the ability and how it worked. It was and then he was also explaining how he's thinking, you know, hours and weeks and steps ahead of everybody else. And Togashi wants, I think what it is that the intelligence level of the stupidest person in Hunter x Hunter is a genius in every other show.
Yes, it is.
So the most simplest thoughts require an entire paragraph because we're dealing with geniuses.
Yeah. And not even just that too. Togashi has made it clear during the Greed Island arc. Not during Greed Island, but it actually was during the Chimera Ant when he had an interview with, I forgot who was I think it was Kishimoto he was with during this interview. But he was saying how he writes genuinely for himself. Like he writes it how he feels like he would enjoy it. So, like what he was saying for Greed Island, at first he came up with the main cards that they know they would need to be able to win. But then he was like, wait, if that's the case, I might as well just come up with 100 cards and make a whole game. That's literally what he said. So that's his brain process. So when he's coming up with these characters and they have these real intricate plans, no, he wants to be able to break down and explain these plans. He wants people to be able to know what's going on, because when these plans go astray, it lets you know that it going astray means something. Like this was a whole thought out, broken down process, and then a wrench got thrown in. So now everything is all over the place. Like I love that about him. Well, like you said, all the characters are smart. Nobody's a dumbass. Like you can't just be there. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to know what's going on.
All moves it's just a big ass game of Gungi happening right now, to where like you moving here, you moving there. Kurapika is playing the best game he ever could right now with getting all the guards to like for those 2 weeks. That 2 weeks felt forever just reading it, and it was like. Go ahead.
Oh, I will have to say, I have to give major props to Queen Oito. Like, immediately her setup is that Kurapika thought he was going to be Hulkenberg's bodyguard. She switched it. So she is so clever, and I actually really respect Queen Oito.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the theory that she's Krollo's sister?
It's
I've never heard that.
Isn't she from Meteor City?
It was
it's
never
implied almost.
It was implied because it was showed that she was super poor. She lived in a extremely broken area, but then she ran into the king, and he just found her interesting and beautiful, so he brought her out of poverty. But it is implied heavily she's from Meteor City, and on Reddit, people have brought up panels of where her and Crollo uncannily look alike, uncannily look alike. So,
I did not know that. Oh,
they have the same eye shape from like, especially within Heaven's Arena, like. The funny thing about Crollo is that he's becoming increasingly more like Bishonen compared to his earlier art. He's a pretty boy.
Exactly. I love that theory. It's a very interesting theory. Like when I was reading into it, that it's really good. I like how they came up with it. And Togashi always leaves stuff, pieces. So it's cool to read up on. I say you guys check it out, see what you think.
I wouldn't mind.
I'm looking for it.
I wouldn't mind either. I think it'd be really cool.
One interesting theory, I saw it on Twitter's, and I forget from who, but someone mentioned like there is a clip of a baby briefly in Meteor City, and they suggested that it could be Crollo because I believe like in that same episode we also see young Crollo running with a book through Meteor City. But that would be interesting if that baby was little him.
Yeah. Nice.
That's interesting.
Okay, so all right, so but just like I want to kind of move into the next thing, but just before I do that, I just want to kind of say like again, like I think one thing that we all sort of appreciate is Tagashi's just wonderful ability to just say like I know my audience, and I'm not gonna treat them like they're like thinking like people. Or they can't handle like certain storylines and narratives and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So like I it's just so consistent, and I think like one thing that you all have mentioned that I love is like just like I love most of these folks are geniuses. Like if you're gonna be a hunter, like you really can't be no joke. Like you don't make it into the Hunter Association unless like you're either extremely lucky, and you're a genius, right? And then or just like you just got like ridiculously lucky, and then you end up dead at some point, like fairly quickly. But like what I love is like, but even folks like Kotopiku, who's like one of the smartest dudes in the verse, right? He got into the boat. He was like, all right, we gonna do this. I got my Emperor time. I'm chilling, and then very quickly realized like, oh man, this is not good. Like I lost 3 years of my life. I have to just like throw things into chaos because like just as like stay like keep my neck over water, like just keep my head over water. I love that, and like he did that with Kotopiku, who's like one of the pro tags, and every character is sort of like that. There is like all these princes, they think they're great, they think they're hot shit, and then wrench, and I love it, and it's always and you just appreciate it because like again all these folks like you're saying, right, like all these folks put so much thought into their plans, and then sorry, I love it.
I will say I think it might have been addressed during the election arc, but was Pariston or some people complaining about like the level of quality of hunters? So secretly like hunters were like there was an increased mortality rate because Pariston was killing them off and was trying to make the hunters' exam more difficult or something like that because they disappointed him.
That's how you know Pariston is like he's on another level.
Yeah, disappeared.
Oh yeah, they disappeared. Their bodies weren't found. So.
What do you guys think that like Parison's like real goal is? Is it like the same
chaos?
Chaos. Chaos.
Yeah.
It's
agreed.
Any man who says that he likes to destroy the things he loves, he just wants chaos.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. But now he's even more interested because he hates Jing, and now he wants to know what he's going to do to something he hates. So I'm just really interested in it. Like I
want to see, what happens between the two of them.
Yeah, and I love how Gene walks up on him and goes, "I could kick your ass, but that wouldn't do anything."
Well, he said he would enjoy it. It would give him satisfaction.
Right. He was like, he said, "I would be beating you bloody, and you would just be sitting there with a smile on your face." No, I gotta break you mentally. I was like, "Yo, this dude is something else."
What was I gonna say? Okay, so one thing, like, we got to talk about like who our favorite princes. Like, if we have a favorite prince, and if we have if you have like, I would say like if you want to take two, like if you want to have like two favorite princes, that's cool. But like if you want to pick one, okay, pick one. So who would it be? Who would you pick? I feel like I know what some people are gonna say, but I want to see.
I'm gonna say Hawkenberg. If you would have talked to me beginning of 2018, I would have said Tesse. But after doing some rereading, and then also with this new volume that came out this past October, and the added stuff Togashi put in the new volume 36 after buying it and doing some rereading and stuff like that, and reading the last batch we just got, Hawkenberg, now that he's actually into this war, I think is about to be a menace. I think him, Benjamin, Tesse, that's going to be like that. Will probably wobble as a fourth clash, but those three this is going to be that big final clash, and those three are going to be like the powerhouse of what's going on. But I love Hawkenberg because at first he thought, I don't want a part of this. I'm not with no massacre. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the prince that generally is representing the white knight, so to speak, type of deal. You know what I'm saying? And so now him having the mentality of, okay, I can't even kill myself and get out of this. I need to have to actually fight. Because when he has that conversation with his father, Nasubi, and Nasubi's like, you're trying to make king decisions, but you're not a king. You're trying to tell me not to do this, but how can you tell me not to do this? You have no power over me. Like that whole conversation of him saying to him, somebody has to take power. Hawkenberg, somebody has to have it. Somebody has to be cunning. Somebody's willing to take sacrifices. Like he was that whole conversation, and Hawkenberg realizing, you know what? If I don't take it, everything is going to go south. So I have to do something. And I like now that he's all into this war because his ability is crazy. With him switching out people, and stuff like that,
Yeah, being able to take over a person's body and the other person's consciousness just disappears.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous because they also explain that his arrow can pierce any shield, it can pierce anything.
If you try to
so the only way is to avoid it. It has to be avoided because you can't block it. Apparently it can pierce anything. So with that being said, and once it touches you, your consciousness is gone, and the consciousness of one of his soldiers has now taken over your body. Now we don't know everything else involving that just yet in terms of if they have control over that person's abilities or their thoughts or their memories or whatever the case is. But we do know that as of right now, the other person or the person's body that was taken over, the consciousness of that person is gone.
It's intense. And like, I think one thing that I love about Togashi's like, he's staying making this like these really just like intellectual, just like sort of like jokes, because like Hawkenberg is he like, and I wouldn't say he's my favorite, but I get why like he would be someone's favorite, right? Because he's not even like one of the top like 3 princes, right? Like those are like the folks, like those are like, they have so much, like or the top 4 or 5, right? They have like so much power, right? They have so many resources, all these things. This man's a 9th prince. This man, like he's not up there with like the Camillas and the Benjamins and the Zanglays and the Sarahs and like, you know what I mean? And the Tibet was like, he's not up there like that. But even Benjamin was like, yo, Hawkenberg just got serious. Like he gonna be a problem. He like Benjamin had to say it. He was like, yo, he's gonna be a problem. We gotta watch this man. I think it's so great because it's like, oh, he's like sort of on the bottom. He's like not on the bottom, but it's also like he's not really on the bottom because he's a prince. He's a prince of the Khakin Empire. It's just so interesting because we always have to think about it as like, okay, yes, he might be on like sort of like the lower sort of level in terms of like the princes, and that sort of means something in this, but they're all like wealthy. They all have crazy amounts of resources. They're like they all wealthy.
But the thing is, there can only be one survivor. So they're a hierarchy that would normally mean something on the country of Khakin doesn't mean anything on this whale boat because there can only be one survivor.
No, but no, like I guess like what I'm saying is sort of like the one thing that I appreciate is like it's like yeah, we get that, and like in some ways like I get what you mean, like it doesn't mean anything when it comes to sort of what's going on the boat, but it's also like you cannot forget that like Hulkenberg isn't like some dude that was like, you know, begging for change on the middle of the street. Like this dude, like the dude is a prince, like he's a prince of
And he
Scotland,
graduated
period.
at the top of the best schools
You know what I
in their
mean?
country.
This dude, like we cannot underestimate like him. Like it would be absurd like to underestimate him.
I
You
agree.
know what I mean? Like he's not just like some bump. So like that's why I just love what Tagashi sort of does like with that.
I agree.
Like
I agree with
don't
you
know.
on that
I don't know.
wholeheartedly. But I also want to add, as far as in terms of my, I don't want to, maybe not my favorite, but probably first or second most dangerous is Prince Benjamin.
Yes,
And,
Mhm.
I agree.
and that the reason why, in my opinion, is because of the ability he has with his knuckles. So he has so he's physically the most powerful nin user of the princes that we know of. Because most of the princes didn't even know nin. Only him, I believe Hulkenberg, the second prince, Camilla, and a few other of the princes knew nin, but Benjamin clearly seems to be the strongest of the princes that know nin. But then when we're taking into account the ability of his knuckles and him placing a star on each one of his guards, and when they die, he then they relinquish their nin ability to him, and he now has control over their nin ability. So when you take into account the guy, his name is Lunis or something like that, where he has the teleportation ability where he can open the
Luini?
walls. I'm sorry,
I think it's Luini.
Luini. Yes, Luini. I'm sorry.
Boy.
I'm sorry about that,
No
Luini.
worries.
If Luini ends up dying, Benjamin is going to get his ability. If Rihan and his predator ability, if he ends up dying, Benjamin is going to get these abilities, and he's going to be the next walking Corolla.
I thought they had to be a soldier directly under Benjamin. So if Luini is a part of Morena's army, then he wouldn't get his
Yes.
ability.
You literally had to go through Benjamin's special military training. You had to go through all of that. Yeah, you had to.
And that's what's amazing about like to me like about like Benjamin. Like he like, and again it's like Tagashi just doing the greatness. He's just doing the good work. Like like it's just so funny because it's like, man, like yes, like we understand that like, okay, you know, that like a lot of things sort of have to happen for him for someone to become an individual whose ability could be given to Benjamin. But it's also like this dude is a first prince. Like you know how much like you know how many ways he could like just get that to happen, like to like get folks to like to you know to get them to believe in like the, you know, like, hey, join my forces, like do all this stuff, like do all this work, and then I'm gonna get your ability. And I don't think he's doing that on purpose though. I don't think he's like, okay, I'm only doing this because I want the abilities. But
But I think that he strategically gave the stars and promoted those people to where he needed them to be, so that if they were to die, such as Rihan, like Rihan's ability is perfect for the succession war.
Yeah.
So
it is.
So I just think that Benjamin, being the intelligent guy that he is, was strategic enough to put these people in place. So that for if they were to die, for one, they have good enough abilities to survive and to assist him in what he's ultimately doing. But ultimately, but at the exact same time, if these people were to die and he were to attain these abilities, then him being able to use them in some sort of conjunction, we don't know really the stipulations on how he can use these abilities. But if he is able to use these abilities all at one time, then these are great abilities to have specifically for this succession war.
Benjamin's in a really good strategic place too, because he can control which soldiers are going to be bodyguards for which prince. I think Tsyrdny is the only exception because I believe they're full brothers and he somehow could opt out of courtesy or whatever.
That was one thing. Like, so I mean, we can continue. The one thing I kind of want to also get to, like, at some point, is like talking about the way, before we continue with the princes, talking about the ways in which Togashi is sort of set up, like the bodyguard system, because I think that is like such a dope, like it's almost it's not supposed to be subtle, I don't think, but it is. Like, it's like you could forget that there's a queen, like, just there, like, doing stuff, because some of the queens, like, right, like Camilla's mother, like,
Yeah.
it's kind of very, like, quiet, but it's also like, nah, you got to keep a lookout on, like, who the guards, like which of the bodyguards belongs to which queen, and like what, like, the personalities of the queens are, and like how that comes into play. But I want to talk about that a bit later. But I want to get back to the princes and who are our favorite princes.
I'll go next.
Cool.
My second favorite prince is Cacho. Rest in peace.
Oh,
Oh.
rip baby girl.
Yeah.
Poor Cacho.
I loved her once Melody was like, "You're doing this for another reason." And then watching this play out, that girl, all she cared about was her sister and wanted them to be safe, and seeing them hands and her push her, and then she pops back out like, "I'm okay." And I'm like, "That's not you." Yo, it hurt my heart seeing her go. So then my first, I want to say it's gotta be Seretnik. I think he is going to be a phenomenal final fight on the whale. My honorable mention goes to Hulkenberg, though, because I want Hulkenberg to win. Okay.
Team Hulkenberg, let's go.
Oh man, like he's just like he reminds me of Naruto. If Naruto was like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill people now, like, or I'm gonna do not necessarily kill, just like I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Like, I get it, because the way the king basically told him, like, if you want to change things, you have to become Oh,
that was
gosh.
an amazing scene.
But
and that scene also demonstrated exactly how powerful and how precise Hulkenberg's Ninbeast is. For his Ninbeast to be able to catch a bullet within inches of his head to begin with at that speed, who's going to be able to put some damage on Hulkenberg?
Exactly.
And that's for Togashi to find out, and it's gonna be real interesting to see how he
that time skipping brother. That's how.
Or with the remote ability. Because it has a range, right?
Yep.
You just need a longer range.
Yeah, I want, like, has anybody come up with any sort of ideas in terms of that? Like, any, like, who do we feel like is going to be, like, the person, if Hulkenberg does end up being, like, sort of, like, dealt with, who would be the prince to deal with that?
I genuinely don't think that Wobble's going to die, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't think Wobble's dying. I still think Togashi, the thing I love about the Togashi is that he goes, "Hi, here's the main character that you love. Now let me go throw him in the worst situation you could think of." He's like, "Okay, yeah, Karapika, you had this genius plan to get with Hulkenberg. Not only did you not get with Hulkenberg, but you got with the weakest ranked queen, who also has not only the youngest prince, but it's a literal baby." Like, him even just doing that is just mind blowing in itself to me. But if it's not Hulkenberg or Tesse or Benjamin, if it's not one of those three, I generally think Wobble will come out the quote unquote winner. But I still think one of those three is taking it, but Wobble's not dying necessarily, but something else is happening. And either that, or I'm thinking Wobble's winning through some type of Togashi brain that we can't think of. And then somehow Karapika is actually going to become more intertwined with the Kaken Kingdom from here on out. I genuinely think that.
I will say I feel like there is a setup between Hulkenberg and Tierney, because when we first learn about Hulkenberg, like, I believe Karapika reads his like Facebook page or like the Hunter x Hunter version of a Facebook page, and he says the only family member he cares about is Sirdni. Yep. So I feel like Sirdni befriended Halkenberg because he was completely out of the political sphere. He wasn't interested in becoming a king, so he wasn't a threat. And they got along intellectually. But now that Halkenberg is serious, and I really want to see a confrontation between those two half-brothers. But I do ultimately feel that it's Wobel who will give Halkenberg one of the biggest dilemmas, or Fugetsu, like one of the children of the bunch. Like he's going to be like, okay, can I really make this sacrifice?
Thank you. I think Fugetsu is such a wow. I think people are now that she has the Kacho Nimbys. I think Fugetsu's about to be a wild card. Like, and then we already know she's not dumb. She's a very smart girl, you know. So I think a lot's about to happen with that because I was talking to one of my friends about it really just yesterday, and when it says that she protects the other until death, it makes me wonder. What can this Nimby's Kacho do? Does it have combat ability? Does it have a specific ability aside from what's the name of it? Being? Does it even know it's a Nimby's because it became a perfect copy? Does it know it's one? Like it's just all of this going on with that the psychology of it. Fugetsu doesn't know. Will she ever find out? What will happen if she does find out? How will she find out? Like it's just so much to it that just. Oh, it blows my mind.
You think Melody's gonna tell her?
Oh, you think her no? Oh, she does know.
Yeah, I think weren't they talking about it like they knew Kacho was dead, but Fugetsu didn't know, and I keep forgetting that they're in lockup right now. That's why Melody is safe. Quote air quotes
for now, temporarily.
But like those coffins, though, let's talk about that because I was just looking at that page.
Yes,
that made me think of what is it? Oh no, now I'm blanking because it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's the one with the 13 ghosts. I was like, yes, this is amazing. This is so dope.
There's something creepy going on. Like my gut instinct, especially I think it was Nasubi who's like, don't worry, Momose's spirit lives on. So I'm worried, what is the end result of when, like, basically all those coffins are filled? What's going to happen?
Because right here, I actually just opened it up to volume 36 in the beginning when they show those. And, like you said, right here, it says, he's like, nothing to be sad about. Momose will become the foundation of Kaken. She is shining even brighter than in life. So I'm like, what? He's like, Togashi brings that up, but that's it. We haven't seen much of that since.
It says she's alive. She is alive even now.
Yeah.
Like what is that? Like, oh man.
I wonder, are they going to form like an army to protect the next king, like an undead magical army, or I have no idea.
wasn't something similar to that done when they brought up the ancient history of the Kaken? Didn't they say something similar?
Well, the king said he already went through it, and you see he only got one Ninbeast just chilling behind him. The one with all the nipples and boobs and
right.
He's just chilling there.
But if you read
he might got a whole squad of Nimbeasts behind him, just they're not showing.
If you read the commentary of Nasubi holding the jar, it says this is one of the first historically correct uses of the urn ceremony jars. So previously, it might not have been a battle to the death. We don't know how he actually became king. So there might be a different result for when all those coffins are filled.
Exactly.
What do any of you have like any sort of like theories in terms of like what will happen when the coffins are filled?
I can't even think of anything.
I think we're in an unpredictable arc. I genuinely think we're in an unpredictable arc, bro.
Tagashi can make a whole Pokemon pop out of that mug.
He already has.
The dark continent. Unlock all the lives for this jar, and you get longevity rice. Like no.
Dun 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 dun.
Like
Zelda jar open.
I agree.
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like like Tagashi just sort of setting up so that like none of the princes like win. Like I don't think any of them will like win the succession war. I feel like all of this
If
is,
you
like,
win,
some
you
sort of, like-
lose your soul and
Yeah.
dignity.
Wait, because isn't there like there's an extra coffin? There's like how many coffins?
How many are they?
Because there was one for the king too, or it could include the
Oh,
king.
Yeah,
do you also
I
have
feel
to
like all
kill
of their
the
like
old
life force
king?
were like. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Like
There's
He wants
14 coffins and then one thing in the middle.
yeah, so something's happening. Like I feel like to me, I've always sort of felt like all like once I saw that, I was like, oh, all of them gonna die. Like I feel like all the princes are gonna die.
Yeah, because even the even though what Momose is, there's even a fire on the little circle. If you see that little fire, like
Yeah, hers
Yeah.
is lit up.
Yeah, hers the only one lit up. So it's like clearly something's giving energy to this through her being in there.
Mm-hmm.
Does it become a tree? Doesn't he mention a tree? We know
Yeah,
that the
right
world
here.
tree comes from
Right
the dark continent, so
He
I don't know
literally-
if
He literally
it grows a
says Momose-
tree.
he
That's
says
it.
Momose will be the foundation for the tree of Kakin.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the tree of Kakin?
So this will be the next tree for the new Kakin. This
Maybe.
whale is going to.
Could it be a second world tree? I don't know.
And that's what I'm so interested in. Like, what is it?
But why would they souls? Well, I mean, like their bodies fuel.
Nin?
Because
I
of
mean,
Nin ritual. Rituals and curses have a lot to do with it. That's the reason why Fugetsu and Kachu couldn't leave the ship, because there was a curse on the ship that keeps them, it's probably because they're a part of the succession war. So it all has a lot to do with rituals and curse, I guess akin to magic.
Because literally Kacho's like, oh, escape, and she's literally like leaving
All
the
them
boat,
hands.
escape, leaving the boat is death. Like she says that, like she's like, it's like when she says it, it's almost like she got hit with a nin law instantly when she realized.
Yep.
Like, oh, crap.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was like when Kira got all the, when you go down that alley and there's all the hands that pop out.
Yes.
It was like that moment for
The
me. I
ghost
was
alley.
like,
Just like that, you're right. Wow,
So-
another JoJo reference.
man, I mean, what? Dang, I don't know. I don't know what that pot gonna do.
I don't know. I feel like
We don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be something terrible. Like it's gonna be something terrible. You just know it's gonna be something terrible.
Oh, since Roger's gone, do we really think that Kurapika's making it off the boat?
No, Kurapika not making it off that boat.
I'm so
I know,
glad,
he's-
but I
no,
don't think he's
no.
making it. I think
I feel
Liera
like-
gonna have to make that phone call. Like, gone, Kurapika didn't make it, but he got all the eyes.
Man, I'm telling you, that's what he finna say, bro. I'm telling you.
He might not go for revenge. He might even give up on the last eye. I don't know, but something's gonna happen to.
I feel like he's gonna maybe sacrifice his life to save Wobble or one of his friends, like Leorio or Melody or one of those.
Something like that. He has to. I don't think survival. I think the foreshadowing has just been death flags for him all this time. I'm sorry. Like him passing out on Dimper's time when he was talking to Mazastorm and was like, I know how to deal with humans in beast clothing, but Mazastorm was just looking at him like, I don't know, man. This don't feel right.
He got Prolo on there. He got all
Prolo
the
in the boat. It's
the
just
family.
so
Prolo's
good.
distracted though, but I
His
feel like
heart.
he's gonna have a breakdown.
Yeah. He's barely hanging on by this. He's over here playing 3D, 5D chess.
Miser Storm saying that he shouldn't say anything to Kurapika, I think is a mistake.
He's gonna find out in a bad way.
I think he's gonna find out in a really bad way. And I'm like, I think you not saying anything is a huge mistake. I think Kurapika needs to know who's on this boat, bro. Like,
Prolo gonna walk past Kurapika in the hallway like it's casual.
Anger kicks in, he's gonna lose control. Because we haven't seen Kurapika lose control in a while, and I think once he gets a whip of one of those Phantom Troop members, we're going to see him go lose his mind.
Prolo is going to walk past him in the hallway, and Kurapika's going to be like, "Yo, who is this?"
Oh wait, speaking of walking past in the hallway, can we talk about how crazy these new mob members we just got introduced to are?
Oh, you
yeah,
talking
about
about?
Huh? What?
One thing. Wait, I wanna hear from Ash or Tails. Like, how do you feel about so for the both of you, how do you feel about the like the princes? Like how do you feel about the princes? Like, do you have a favorite prince at all?
Yeah, I would say Halkenburg, and it was pretty well discussed why already. So it's just I would talk more in general, but it's just that it's already 3 a.m. here. So
Oh no! Oh my god!
Oh.
Thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm so sorry.
Drink some delicious coffee.
No, so I like the discussion. You know, if I would, you know, it's you say a lot of stuff I like and I agree with. So yeah, I would say more if I were more awake. So
Oh no!
I mean, like I said, like we're gonna have more. We're gonna have more of these streams, like more Hunter discussion streams. So, you will definitely be on the list. Definitely.
I definitely know what that feels like. When One Piece comes out 2 o'clock in the morning, we're up at 3 o'clock.
Oh man. Ash, what about you?
Okay, so I'm gonna break it down because I think I have like 3 or 4 favorites, but for different reasons. So I'm gonna break it down from like.
Let's hear it. I'm here. I'm ready for it.
Most.
Let's hear it.
Mhm.
So I think I'm gonna go with my kind of like quote unquote least favorite being Camilla, just because I'm a fan of her, just because of her ability. I love the name and I love the design. I think it's one of the coolest ones we've seen in the series so far.
Mhm.
So that kind of just puts her up on that list
Wait,
just for
she
that
has
reason.
2.
No, it's a.
I think she has like a Hatsu and a
yeah.
2 different ones.
Yeah, because she's got
The
her
jellyfish and the cat.
The Nimbus is the jellyfish dress, and the cat is.
Yeah, so I'm a fan of I'm a fan of the cat because we have not seen what the jellyfish can do yet, but I'm curious to see that because that leads into the second
Isn't the
one.
jellyfish manipulate?
Yeah, it's a coercive manipulative, I think they said.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love how Camilla got so bold when she found out what her cat could do. She was like, "Oh,
just shoot him up."
Shoot me.
She's gangster.
She walked down that hallway. She
was
wanted all of it.
She said, "Why you not trying to shoot me?"
And then the next one is kind of a trio, which is Kacho, Fugetsu, and Hulkenberg. Most of the reasons I think everyone already kind of touched on, being already. But for me, I think the reason I like them the most is the contrast between you have this, battle to the death contest. And you have these 3 people who are like, I want nothing to do with this. But they also have absolutely no chance of getting out of it. And it's like, all right, they have to do the best they kind of can, with the circumstances they're given. And you can tell it's probably going to lead to tragedy for most of them, which I think is why it piques my interest in them and how they'll potentially even get out of it. Just percolating some thoughts as everyone else was talking about how, like the expectation is that everyone is going to die and there'll only be one survivor from this. But I just pinged a thought and thought, would it be possible for one of them to escape the contest if there was a Nen exorcist that was able to get rid of the jar's effects on them?
Yeah, like put something back in the jar and they're no longer involved.
Exactly. And I was thinking about that in relation to the coffins, and I was wondering if that's related to the jar's powers, like if that's the contracted made with, I'll give you these powers for your succession wars, whatever, but then the life force of anyone that dies, like, it basically becomes my food or my supply, and I get to do whatever I want with them. So I'm wondering if we're going to find out like more of the history of how, because looking back on like, that Kakin was, became a superpower after the first king created the seed urn. So I wonder if he set some kind of conditions for that power to enable him to become that superpower in the first place. Because we also know, what's his name, Hoigoi said that, I can't die until this contest is over. So anything you try to do to me won't work because I'm a part of this as much as you are.
And
I wonder if he knows something that he's not telling them.
I think it has a lot to
he
do with
definitely does.
He already did.
I think with the prince, with all of the princes and everyone that's involved, and the amount of nin that is involved in the entire succession war as a whole, that's what's powering what the king is talking about, and that's why he's protected by the nin curse.
Yep.
Possibly, yeah. Like they can't he can't die until someone can take his place.
Yeah.
I wonder, would he be like one of the last people to die then within the ceremony for the ritual to be complete?
He might be the last.
I think so.
Well,
He might be the last. I mean, it might be one of those things where the curse is protecting him, like you said, until until like the nin can tell who's supposed to be the next lead. You get what I'm saying? Or it could be after this last person standing, they think, okay, Father, I've won, and he's like, yeah, now you got to kill me, like type thing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe along those lines. Who knows? But
I think for like to transfer the title of king, because like if there can only be one king, that's like the official act.
Right.
To
You have to
finally
come
become
through
one.
me last.
Yeah.
To get to the
last, right?
Okay.
wow.
Because what does his nin beast do? What the hell is that?
You'll get smacked by a lot of weird things. That's for sure.
He just loves women. We know he has a lot of wives.
One thing I kind of wanted to sort of like get into is sort of like like I mentioned earlier is like the bodyguard system and how Togashi set that up, and I think that's just it's one of the things that I think really makes a succession like stuff like what it is, like, and just how like sort of in depth and like complex, just like the complexity of it. Like I want to sort of talk about that, like what are our feelings about that? Because like we had that whole page where Togashi was just like, all right, here are the facts. Like here's what's going on here are these types of guards, here are these types of guards, here are these types of guards, here are the princes, like here's this information that you need to know. And I remember seeing that page the first time and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is gonna take me like a solid like week to just like sit with and like figure out and understand why like all this stuff is here. But I want to hear your thoughts about that. Like what do you think?
I'm lost on all the bodyguards. I'm gonna keep it 1,000% with you guys. It's like
I created a cheat list.
I feel like I'm with that. I should have did that too. I try to reread to prepare myself, and I'm like that bodyguard, and then I forgot all of them all over again. It's just
like describe their appearance or what they do, like that guy or that lady
or who's standing there.
Are you asking us, just to clarify your question, are you asking us how we feel in terms of the fact that other queens can control what body other queens
That's
have, and the fact that they can even the more above queens can spy on the other queens, but the lower queens can't spy on the above queens.
Right, and like the
hierarchy of the queens comes through.
And the relationship, right? And the relationship between the queens and their children,
right?
And how that affects like if a particular queen has set bodyguards, and like we have to be aware of like what kind of person that queen is, how much power do they actually have, who has power over them. So like if we think about like Camilla, right, like in her relationship with Duazol, right, like and like I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure, but like we think about that like that should tell you like if you see a bodyguard that's like sort of repping like her, well, you got to think about like what Camilla's like trying to do and like how she's manipulating things and all of that, and like that's the sort of thing that to me that's like really interesting. It's like you can't just kind of there's like layers to it. I love that.
I like it too. I think also that was back to when you first asked, that was sort of the point I was coming into, bringing up the fact that Karapika has the lowest queen with a baby on top of that. So now every other queen has all this information. And even in the beginning, a lot of the bodyguards with Odo were put there from other queens, So it's like crazy because he's in this disadvantaged point, which is brilliant of him to go, okay, let me just teach everybody Nin to make a stalemate. Because now he has control over not only the queens and not even the queens and the princes, but also the bodyguards, because the bodyguards don't want to be out the loop with this Ning crap. Okay, the queens and the princes, they don't know what this is, so they're trying to make sure they're safe. So it's like all of that is so mind blowing that Togashi even decided to even add that. Like, he didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? So him putting that in there, it makes me wonder somewhere down the line that's going to play a key role in how this ends, because like you said, it's not supposed to be subtle, but it feels subtle because you don't think about it as you're going through the process.
Like, sitting here looking at the queens, I'm looking at them right now, and the princes that have died so far is the lowest queen's kids, and that
They're less
Momose.
protected. That's why.
Yep.
I didn't put two and two because all the bodyguards and how they, like, I was trying to figure out who was protecting who. That's why Momose wasn't protected. Mara, how do you say the boy's name? Mariam.
Yeah, Mariam.
Right.
She didn't even care about Momose,
Right.
but she went into the pocket space with him, and then the sister gets killed. Then we got Kacho, the Seki. That's the what mom is that? Oh, well, she loses one. Sail's gone, so she's out the running because she only has him. You got basically from the fourth wife and up with only kids that are alive, except for Wobble, and she. It's so interconnected, and this gonna play out some way. That how they're killing off the top queens are somehow killing off the lower queens for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the only reason why Wobble is still in the game is because of plot armor and Kurapika leveraging, like, oh yeah, I can teach you all like how to use Nen. Yeah.
Strategically, it does make a lot of sense from his point of view, and also because it's the queen that's in charge of the camp that Kurapika is a part of. He and the queen really doesn't have any idea what the heck she's doing for the most part. Kurapika is probably one of the guards that have the most control over the camp that he's a part of.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a Zodiac, so he has connections.
And these are some of the reasons why I believe that Kurapika will not die on this boat at all. No, he has too many powers. He has too many powers.
I hope you're right, bro. I swear to God, I hope you're right. I'm so serious, bro. I really do hope. Because I'm so scared for my mans, bro.
His anxiety is so high. All the people on his hit list is on this boat. Like, I don't.
He needs Melody to play him a relaxing song. That's
but he definitely needs Melody. But the thing is that what is secretly saving Kurapika is actually Hisoka.
Yes, because he's distracting everyon. Yes,
for sure. And I recently made a video about this where I was saying that Hisoka and Kurapika are actually the ones that are at war with each other, and they don't even realize it.
Yes, bro. Okay. I've been telling people the same thing. Please explain your logic, because I think you have the same mindset.
So ultimately, they have the same goal. From my logic, their goal is Kurapika wants to eradicate the Phantom Troop for a reason. Hisoka wants to eradicate the Phantom Troop for no reason.
Well, it's for revenge now. He mad.
Hisoka's not mad. He's happy. He looked at.
He got what he wanted.
He looked at Chairman Netero and damn near went to you know what I mean. And because he wants to go against somebody that is that much stronger and that is able to kill him. So if anything, it excited him to the point where by threatening the Phantom Troop in the manner that he did, he increased the threat level to himself to a greater degree. So now he's in even in more danger than he was ever in, simply because of what he did when he killed Shalnart and Cortopi. Also, that he did it. He's so smart because he targeted them immediately after that fight before they were even able to get their abilities back from Corolla.
I will say, though, I think he's his mentality has shifted to where he's being smarter, because literally Prolo talks about using like strategy in your environment and like assistance, and then Machi repeats that same line, and then you see a light bulb like, oh, I've been bamboozled. And so I think that's why he strategically went after powerless people before he had like a hard on for powerful people. He wasn't waiting for them to get their Nen abilities back like with Prolo. So I will say I think he's being way
You're right. You're right. I think you're pointing out some character growth where he actually may have gotten smarter right in front of our eyes. And he utilized the information that he learned from that horrible massacre that he received from Prolo.
Oh God.
I am a huge Hisoka fan, but Krollo
and I think a lot of people with that fight, I noticed, and maybe it's just me looking in the wrong places and not realizing it, but I'm seeing a lot of downplaying for how good Krollo is based off that fight. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people claiming that Krollo needed prep time. And I'm like, no, he didn't need it. He didn't need it. He literally said that style was more important than winning. He wanted to win with style. He never...
He changed his wardrobe. Yeah.
Yeah. He, like, everything about what he did was so extra.
It was literally extra. Like, time. He spoke to himself that, oh, Prolo showed me he could insta-kill me so that he can tell me that he wants to prolong the fight. I'm like, how do you read that and then go, he needed prep time? I'm like, bro, what? Like it'd be crazy to me.
No, he didn't need prep time. It was really Hisoka's own stupidity.
Yeah.
Based on the simple fact that Hisoka didn't know he can come back to life. Like, that was an accident.
So Prolo told him about Nen after death, and you see like a light bulb moment, and then I think there's foreshadowing, like, oh, I guess I'll try it, like right before he dies.
Absolutely, but that's based off of that. But that thinking only works if he knew that he would even have a chance to do that. He didn't know that he was going to be in a situation where he can, oh, my wonderful rubbery Nen protect my heart. Like, he did all of that. Like, he didn't know that he was going to be in that situation. So realistically, it was his own stupidity that where he gets such a thrill from being at a disadvantage that he allowed Krollo to set up the perfect scenario for Krollo to literally probably massacre anyone.
It was a boner of a lifetime for him.
Oh,
he swung even into death.
He went down swinging.
He went down swinging. Yes. That's gonna be a shirt. There's your shirt. Yes. There's your merch. Get Whimsy's merch.
That fight, and it's really good.
Oh man. Okay, so do we like do you want to talk about like sort of like how like what's going on, like maybe we'll sort of transition into what's going on with the Phantom Troop, with the mob factions, and how that's just leading into some really, really good stuff.
Oh yes, like Enrique Big Andufno. That's my man. I love his ability. I did a whole video on him, and we know nothing about him, but just seeing his ability, which I think was on the last chapter, where he can turn inanimate objects into living creatures.
Biohazard is the name of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like Gold Experience.
Oh, yep.
The Dead Man Wonderland character was a very nice touch.
I have not seen that.
Oh, they just control blood like the dude did at the end of that chapter. They have blood manipulation abilities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who I forgot. What's the person that can control the blood? What's their name? I forgot.
I forgot his name too. I'm about to go grab it right now. Hold on.
Just IV dude.
IV dude.
Right. Who doesn't like cutting himself? I'm going to the panel right now. Let me find his name.
Okay.
His name is Zakuro.
Okay.
What is it again?
His name is Zakuro Custard.
Custard. Custard. Colonel Custard.
Zakuro Custard. That's
Does he have a
crazy.
sweet tooth or something?
Maybe.
Custard.
His ability is called Bloody Mary.
Oh,
Mary.
that's funny.
Manipulates his blood at will. The IV line is both practical and a limitation.
Yeah, he seems like one of those people that's pretty hard to kill.
Yeah.
For the most part. He's just one of those hard to kill, but we don't really know how much damage he can dish out or how dangerous he could really be. But he seems like one of those people that's just gonna be tough to kill. I think one of the Phantom Troop is gonna murder him. Like I don't think we're gonna have a problem with him, but that Enrique guy, with him being able to turn inanimate objects into living creatures,
Yeah, that's an
like,
issue.
Yeah.
like that whole boat is full of inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Like,
But the fact that he can turn it into an inanimate object, but it still retains its function is the part that's like mind blowing. Like he turned a gun into a snake, and then it still has a shotgun function. Like what?
That's wild.
Like that's ridiculous.
Gun snakes. It's just a funny picture.
It really is. Oh, now
I have a question. I just thought of something.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's slightly off topic, more towards the Kurolo Hisoka stuff. But did they ever mention if Kurolo retained Shalnark and Kratoka's powers?
They disappeared from his
they disappeared after death.
I believe they disappeared, right?
That's how we found out that old girl died.
Neon. Well,
Neon, yeah.
I think people suspect there might be some weird. She might be alive. Like there's some weird thing going on with his book about why people's names might disappear. I don't know.
I thought that was Nagashi's way of saying that she passed away.
I figured she had to be dead because how did Kurapika take lead in the Strada family? Like I figured.
I mean, it might be part of like because he he had to put more limitations on his Hatsu.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like,
in order to use like multiple abilities like at once. Right.
So like he might just have like a limitation where like he can only hold like so many abilities and like like after a certain like amount of time or something like that, like a random ability will like be eliminated from some wild stuff that like allows him to be that like. And
it also hasn't been explained how he was able to retain the Sun and Moon abilities. Like he basically said it was like miraculous. He didn't know how he was able to repeat it. But after the old man who from Meteor City, who he got the powers from, after the old man died, he explained how he retained the powers, but he doesn't even know how he was able to retain the powers.
Mm-hmm. And then after death, like a donation.
Yeah, he still had a grudge. The chief, the village elder of Meteor City still had a grudge. So his then after death kept the ability in his book. That was the assumption that made. That was the assumption he made. That's
a beautiful assumption. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that was the assumption he made. He was like, clearly it was just Nin after death, which is when he was explaining that to Hisoka, which is where the Nin after death came from.
Yeah.
And then he said all like, oh, this is going to be a problem because the symbols won't disappear. Because of Nin after death, it makes them permanent.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, there is a funny Death Note reference because Crollo's Japanese voice actor also voices Light. But
Nice.
I'm wondering if there's some unintentional attributes or consequences to Crollo's book where everyone who's eventually been in it eventually dies, like a curse. So I'm not sure if there's unintended consequences.
That would be dope.
Yeah. So even if he just borrows.
Yeah, because she literally was like, "Your book's like a Death Note, huh?" And her and Krillin been along like
silence.
Oh, speaking of which, this is actually my favorite thing in Hunter, which is talking about the biohazard guy and a theory that was brought up when on Reddit that I just really entirely missed when I first read it. And when he handed the guards the money, and when you look at the money, looks like they have God scripts on them or divine scripts.
Oh.
And somebody on Reddit was like, is that how he activated the ability to do that? Because the money was in their pockets close to the gun, and somehow him doing that was able to amplify or the ability of someone. Because what was the point of him handing them the money and then killing them?
Would it be like considered, is it conjuring? So first he conjures the money. If they accept it, then it's activated?
Yeah, it has to be because it's a conjuring ability anyway. So I'm assuming that it has to be it.
That makes sense.
So you think that that's the condition?
Yeah.
It's
because
possible.
He's handing them this money and he's like, sorry about that. You guys take this little bribe from us. And they're like, okay. And he puts it in their pocket. Then he turns around, head blown off.
The one thing is, I think there's going to be unintentional, like, civilian unrest because they're just murdering people in front of civilians in a cafeteria. Yes. So people are going to slowly, like, start revolting and like, oh, I don't feel safe. Even the guards are being killed in front of us.
Literally.
Wait a minute. How did we talk about Suretnik 6 times and forget to mention his second Nin beast that he developed?
The 666
yeah.
one.
I think Roger was in here when I wanted to bring it up.
Oh, so we didn't bring up the. Yeah.
Makes sense. Wow.
I literally forgot. I remember I was going to, and I was like, "Crap, Roger's here."
I mean, I really don't have anything to say about it other than wow. Like this guy, it just really strengthens like how much Togashi is trying to give us the impression that he's going to win this war.
Yes.
But I don't think he's going to win, but I don't think he's going to die either.
That's interesting.
Like if he teleports and stays in a different dimension somehow.
That would be crazy, actually. Because what doesn't make sense to me is how his Zetsu activates an ability. I'm like, what?
Wait, do you mean Hatsu or Zetsu? Like the Hatsu is the dimension
one. His Zetsu. That's what's confusing.
His Zetsu.
His Zetsu.
Yeah.
Was activation. You're entirely right. But his Zetsu is what puts him in his other world. It's sort of crazy.
Well, so basically it's the Zetsu is the condition created for activating the ability.
Right.
But he did that unintentionally because he didn't even realize that he was developing a Hatsu. As a matter of fact, Theta doesn't even know that he has a Hatsu yet.
Yeah, literally.
She's trying to figure out what happened. Like
yeah, because she was in the middle of fake teaching him Zetsu, and he developed the most powerful Hatsu that we've seen in the whole series so far. He's literally 10 seconds ahead of you at all times.
Well, he has to like close his eyes, right, and like activate the state.
The thing is, though, his ability is the definition of what it means to have a hunter-hunter battle. If I know your ability, I probably can come up with a way to beat you. So as long as you don't know what Tessay can do, you're screwed. You're screwed. So until someone figures that out, he's at the highest advantage right now. Like, and then him running into Melody's ability, and now he's even more intrigued with Nin. Oh man.
His ability does have a radius though, right? Like within eyesight, or is it 20 feet? So like if you had a long range, or like even if Palm went aboard and like peeked from behind a corner, you could like plan out a long range attack on him.
You probably could, you're right.
Yeah. And also if he kills the wrong person, if he ends up killing Camilla accidentally, he goes down with her.
Oh,
he does.
The one drawback is someone has to be it's a range thing, within range of her cat to be able to transfer their life force to her.
Oh, hers has
otherwise well, like the cat has to be able to grab the person and transfer their life force for her to get her life back. That's right. The stipulation.
So
yeah, but it would explain that the cat appears behind the person. So, and they never actually specified that there was a distance thing involved.
Yeah, I didn't remember
remote. Oh God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's really broken. That's why she was so confident. She started walking up like, "Yeah, what's up? What's up?" Like she wanted them to kill her.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, she can be sniped from 300 meters, and the cat that lived a million lives will appear behind that person and
Oh.
and then nipple tail to Camilla's mouth. Back to life. And then at the death is no joke. And the reason why you would think it would be so powerful is because the condition itself is death. And anytime the condition is death or something that is extremely high risk to the individual, that just increases the power itself.
Yeah, it literally just says the cat who lived 1,000,000 times, and it says activates after death and revives his user in exchange for the life of the attacker. That's all it says.
Oh, so no range needed.
No, I didn't see anything with range. Nope.
It's an absurd ability, but that's probably why she's my favorite. She's my favorite prince. That's just because I just love everything about it. It's just so comical, in just how
I just love how he took the simple. Oh yeah, cat's got 9 lives. This one has 1,000,000. I love it.
And the cat it's just grinning. It's just always grinning. It's just okay, I'm here to do my job. I'm gonna take this whole human body. I'm gonna grind it up, grind the bones and all of it. It's just nasty. It's just nasty, but it's so funny. You're just look at this little cute kitty. Okay, now here are all these bones grinding into dust and just turning. It's so gross, but it's so cute. I don't know. It's great. It's great. I love it.
The one other thing about Camilla is even though she's a brat and she tells her mom that is it Hulkenberg is her full brother who needs to die or something, but she also basically revolutionized the caste system where I believe it's the untouchable curse people where they can now hold the same rank as soldiers. So there's at least that to her. She's not completely bad.
Yeah.
Wait, was it Ash or was it Japan Animation that brought up the whole? And I'm sorry to go back on this, but something just hit me thinking about the Cocking Kingdom and the whole queen being set up by Periston, with the queen, Ant Queen being brought by Periston. I can't remember which one of you guys brought that up, but that
was probably me. I think.
I just remembered, and this was in manga. I can't remember if the anime said this, and I don't think they did. But back in the Chimera Ant arc, when Gon and Killua first ran into Kite actually told them that he was hired by the Conking Kingdom to go look for the ants.
Oh,
what?
I missed that.
Yes, he told them he was hired by the Conking Kingdom. I just remembered that.
Oh,
I need to go find that panel. I remembered that. I'm about to go find it right now.
That's insane.
I do have a feeling then that some members of the Kakin Princes are somehow going to make it to the Dark Continent then. Yeah.
Oh my! It's and a lot of their powers are designed to survive on the Cotton Kingdom, at least in conjunction. And Togashi has seemed to be introducing a lot of group-based nin abilities in this most recent arc. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that, where we're going to see nin abilities in combination with each other.
Support type abilities.
Especially with the team that is with Beyond and Periston, their whole team seems to be more literally only team based. Like the giant robot that they have that can fight, the dog girl that Jing said was the strongest there, all those type of things. It's like Togashi's really making it obvious that look, people have to move in teams on this continent. This isn't about to be no. You know what I'm saying? You can't.
They wouldn't survive otherwise.
Yeah, they're not going to survive.
Oh, did you notice? I think that the huge, hyper detailed Dark Continent drawing that says it's too big or something. There's a silhouette of one little human looking out, and I believe that is Dawn Freaks.
Yes,
I'm very excited for that.
I heard about that. I heard that.
Yeah.
So how do you
Dawn in there?
How do y'all think he relates back to Gon and Jing? Do you think he's just a really, really old ancestor, or do you think he has a more direct line?
He's a grandpa. He's definitely a grandpa.
I think he's a grandpa or a dad. I genuinely think he's either a father of Jing or he's a grandfather or something.
What if Hunter x Hunter is the story started off just showing us Gon, which is the last or the most recent newest born, freaks. And then we got Geen. We meet Geen, and now we're going with him, not necessarily just him, but we're following his story with, Pearson heading that way. Now we're finding about Dawn. So maybe it's like now Geen is gone in this situation where we're going to, we're now hunting for Dawn.
That's crazy.
He's going to meet his own dad. That'll be so.
It's wild how that happens, and his dad doesn't want nothing to do with his ass either. He made it harder for him.
He's just out vibing in the wilds.
He's over there smacking papoose. Like, excuse me, is he protecting the little baby head papoose? Protecting the.
That's like the cocoon, like little baby burrito thing.
Yes. Okay, so when we get there, that's another thing. We have to go to these areas to go get those items. Like, I think like Cheeto and Liario, they're gonna head to where the longevity rice is, right? Or do we think they're heading somewhere else?
Is Zombie
the groups are gonna break?
Is Zombie the longevity immortality curse virus thing?
Yes.
Or okay.
Uh-huh.
And
ooh, how do we feel about maybe we'll like shift maybe we'll like shift back to the expedition arc, maybe talk about
to the
like,
calamity.
The 5 calamities, because that I remember seeing that and I was like, whoa, like Tagashi's really going somewhere with the Dark Continent, like just introducing like 5 like absurd like beings that just are just all mind blowing in their own right.
But I think this here's the picture that she was talking about right here. Someone called it.
Oh yes, you pulled it up.
Yeah, this is it right here. And these are the people right down here in the corner that she's talking about. And look at the size of these creatures.
Wait, no, that's not Netero and Zig, is it? In that right side?
Well, there looks like there's 3 people down there. So
it's supposed to be Lynette, Zig, and Netero.
Okay. Oh, the colored shows it better. Like before the black and white, like you could just see this little.
Oh wait, I can zoom
saw
in
one.
a little
Are there
further.
more? Okay, never mind. That's really cool. Mind blown.
Yeah, you got like a walrus eating a T-Rex type creature.
That big dragonfly.
Think about the size of these creatures, like in comparison to these trees. Like these are trees, these are elephant-like creatures, and then these creatures here, and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. This is unbelievable.
Oh God!
Yeah, because the next page shows Isaac, Zig, and Lynette looking at all of this. Yeah.
They like, we want to go home. This ain't even for us. I wasn't even looking for this.
Pack up.
Now, what's crazy about the 5 calamities is that they also don't know if the 5 calamities are like a species. They don't know if there's multiple of them or not. So that's
here's some of them right here.
Yeah, they categorize them as a species, and that's why they call them. Like, I believe they created a whole entire danger system breakdown, like reproduction, longevity, and
you already know I pulled it up.
Oh yeah.
The dangerous creatures evaluation list. So it goes from B, A2, A1, and then it goes to just C, and then low level C. So it goes from AI, which is the one of the calamities, and then it goes Bryron, Zobe, Hellbell, Pap. The Chimera ants, human individual, and then human nation, then human individual, and they literally rank the danger levels of each one.
Yeah. So they're like identified as a species.
Yes, they are. Creatures, because literally here it says number of them ?
Oh, got it. Okay, fair enough.
Yep, because there's a question. Breon is a C. What? Wait, what?
Now the C. Now go to there's another page. The C. There's another page that shows what each of those letters mean. Yes.
Individual C rank.
Right. So if you go to A right here, A means, so each one has, it's broken down from aggression towards humans, the number, the fecundity, I can't remember what that means. The growth of the breeding, I'm sorry. The threat of the bodily harm, and then the total of all of that together. So A basically means for aggression for humans. A is attacks without provocation, and the ecology and the behavior endangers many lives. For the number of them, A means one nest, host, or herd, numbers in 10,000 or more. For the fecundity, A means explosive growth once breeding begins. The threat of bodily harm for A is the high probability of death. And then 2, injuries affect daily life, complete recovery difficult, lifelong after effects. And if you ever get an A for your total, that means that immediate eradication is necessary, but method is uncertain. Global cooperation is necessary.
It's essential. God
essential,
damn.
essential. So it's like these rankings are so like if it's C, like you said, is less than 100. B, hundreds to thousands. D, less than 10. And E, individuals or none.
Wow.
So it's like when you go and I love how Togashi does that. Like he creates one chart where he's like, okay, A, B, C, D, and E mean this. Okay, so now here's the chart where I put them on the paper. I just love that. Like, so then you can look at the two and you're like, okay, so now we know how dangerous each one of these calamities are and what the difference between them are. But all of them are too much to deal with. Like,
yep. No, they're absurd. They're like absurd entities.
Like,
I think that's the thing that's great. And that's why I love just like the way that Togashi sort of like sets up his like sort of like absurdly like powerful characters, where he always like puts them in this great like sort of perspective. Like Netero is just like ridiculous. You know, we understand this. We know like a lot. We know like so much about him, but he was just like, yo, like I don't want to be here. Like this is not for me. Like I'm not looking to just, you know, look around and explore and even really do it like hunter like type stuff in that way. He was like, yo, like Beyond, like honestly is more of a hunter than I am in a lot of ways. And like I just wanted to fight folks like and find a nice opponent. That's really what I wanted to do. So it's just very interesting to me to sort of just like see just how it's not like these beings aren't like opponents, right? They're like forces of like nature. Like, in a different sense. And like it's like not like you can't just come up to them and be like, hey, let's box. That's not like I'm not boxing a typhoon. You know what I mean?
Start a nuke a hurricane.
Or a gaseous bean.
Or a plant.
Have fun with that.
You can't swing on the alchemy plant and expect to make it. This Zobei, looking at the Zobei disease again, it's like, how are you gonna fight that? Is it sprayed in the air at you, or? And then like, how is these squads gonna separate and go to these places? Like, just go and acquire Nitro Rice, the Trinity Elixir. You think they're gonna try to get something, the unmained rock, like that part. Like, I wish that existed in our world for real. Like,
what if there's more creatures like Aruka or Nanika?
They're called the Eye, so there are.
It's gonna be a bunch of little clouds hovering around.
All of them have like these genie powers because she's pretty much like a devil, like a demon genie. She's like Jafar.
It has a description, like they're a desire for codependence or something. So they'll grant you wishes to make you happy, but it's a curse.
That's why like the number is question mark and then fertility is question mark, because you don't know if it can make more, and the number of it is you don't know how many it is. It could be just it could just be Nautica.
But what's so scary is the fact that they said that Beyond, they made them bring these back for going down an untraveled route. They said that the Guardians gatekeepers made them bring that back. Like they gave them a chest that made it look like it was treasures, and they opened it and the calamities came out of it. And I think that whole concept is crazy, how there's beings guarding the gate to the Dark Continent. Like they can't just even just go. They have to get permission to get in.
I just realized something. So it's like the box is Pandora's box, where calamity comes out of once you open it. So they've just opened up Pandora's box.
The literal way Jing said it in the end of the anime.
I'll let that mug fall in the water as I leave. I'm not bringing this back. Y'all crazy. Like, just knowingly bring it back. Like, he told me to. Like, no. Why would you bring that back?
Human greed.
No, man, don't bring. Which one's back? The Zobei, the dude with the Zobei on him? The Zobei? No, man, you gotta sit here. I'm sorry. We can't bring you back. Luckily, nobody.
The issue with hunters is that they're driven by a desire to like hunt and find things and claim things. So that's like the fault of humankind.
Yeah, man, I don't know about that. I mean, like, I'm with it. I get it. I am 1,000% behind it. I'm just thinking, like,
I would not do that personally.
which two came back? Like, wait, which two came back again? Like, Zobe with thumb, Nanako with that is.
They had it in the laboratory somewhere.
They had,
that laboratory was on the outside of one of the sides of the entrance to the Dark Continent.
Never said which was brought back by Beyond.
He said what was brought back by Beyond?
He specified which ones. Because remember, he said that his son went a unexplored route, and as a punishment, they sent it back. He said that. I'm trying to find it. I'm sorry. Because I think it was said either by him in his recording of himself or when the guy was reading the book. Okay, it wasn't the book because I just finished reading when he was reading the book. Okay. Hold on.
What do you think? What is Beyond's goals once he gets to the Dark Continent? Like, what does he want? What is he?
He told us he wants to
run. He wants to run free.
Yeah, he wants to explore that, but he genuinely wants to be able to run around that mug as his free land, like Don Freak's probably doing.
And his daddy don't want him to. He didn't want him to go over there.
He's gonna be a wild man.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Beyond is. I think like Netero said, he was saying that his son is seems like more of a hunter than him because I genuinely think that Beyond genuinely is interested in this Dark Continent. I think the same way Jing is. It's that challenge of it. That whole. It's the unknown, like I think the both of them are similar in that way where they really genuinely want to explore this, that they want to civilize this mug. Like,
oh my gosh.
In the very, very beginning monologue of Hunter x Hunter, isn't there a huge monologue about what type of person a hunter is, where they're driven by a desire to like uncover the unknown?
Yep.
And the interesting thing is you also get those like creepy Nen ghost hands that came after Kacho. So I wonder if like the origins of Nen also came from the Dark Continent.
It could entirely.
That's very possible.
Because what if it's like a calamity that came back from like the original humans, or not the? Well, I mean, I guess I'm gonna stay in that realm. Just the humans that were born there that have Nen came from the Dark Continent.
Even the Kurta, even people coming up with theories that the Kurta are partially ancestors from the Dark
That's
Continent.
Dope.
If you look up that theory, a Reddit user did a really amazing theory on that. It's specifically breaking that theory down even more. He actually said that the little girl that gave Karapika the book, but we know is the book that was actually the story about the Dark Continent that they released it as a fiction to make it seem like it was fake. That's the book that was given to him. It's actually a theory on Reddit that Periston is the girl dressed up because she has on rat earrings and their faces are actually the exact same.
Oh my god.
That would be wild.
Wait, is that from the movie or is that from a spin-off?
No, that's manga.
I need to go back and read that.
Now, the movie, the Phantom Troop movie, did take canon stuff with the little friend. That is from the manga. That is all canon from the manga, and they did put that in the movie. But if you read the manga, I don't know if the movie. I can't remember if the movie had that. But when the girl is giving him this book, and then the characters are all excited, and he goes back to the Kurta clan. The theory was saying that there was a tracker in the book, which led Periston to them to send them after them. If that was the whole theory, I
heard that he
want to do that. I forgot why he said Periston would do it, but it was actually a good reason. So it was like, I liked it a lot. If you look at that too, that's a really good Reddit thread.
I need to look that up.
That's dope to think about.
But do you guys also think that Gon isn't entirely human and the entire Freaks line is like part like being from the Dark Continent? Because there's all these comments like from Hisoka, like you're not human, are you? Like his ability to smell things and that he's so like animalistic and naturistic.
I think he's
more-
a regular boy. Just grew up in he grew up in the wilderness. I mean, his father is a very. It's just the whole line. It's like I don't want, it's like Goku find out Goku's a Saiyan. I don't want to find out Gohan's a Saiyan,
Fair enough.
Gohan to be a whole
I
human.
have a theory with no basis that I feel like the whole Freaks line are clones of one person.
One's freaks.
No, but that's accurate because if you read the manga, it's implied heavily that he really doesn't have a mother and that
He does not have a mom.
Island card.
Like, I truly believe that Gon is a clone of maybe not his father, but of whoever his father's a clone of.
Dude, did you
Dawn
remember
is
the
whatever Dawn brought back.
Remember the Greed Island card that gets you pregnant?
Oh,
No, I don't remember
pregnant then
Yes,
he gave
it's in the
birth to
manga. Have you guys read the manga? If you read-
I don't remember a card being pregnant. I
No,
remember
listen.
old girl being pregnant with Nen
No,
and giving it
there's
to
a card,
Chitu and
y'all.
shit.
I'm about to pull it. Oh, y'all, I have to pull it up. Y'all don't know. I have to grab the pen.
Okay. Or like
There's a card
Google
that
it.
Gon had in his hand, and literally Togashi doesn't even use the card in the arc, but he purposely zooms in on Gon's hands in both cards and has the one of the cards you can read clearly. And the card says the user of this will get an embryo for the 9-month period and be pregnant, whether it be a he or a she. And after 9 months, will have a child.
And that's why Ging popped up with a boy when it was a
Yes.
storm.
Yes.
Yo, that's wild. He wasn't even born. He was
But
just
why would he do that if he didn't want to take care of the child? Like, just dump it on his sister.
But that's the thing. That's the ambiguity. That's what's messed up about the 2011. And I can't remember the 1999 did it right. But in the manga, which is why I always tell people read Hunter x Hunter, Mito tells Gon before he leaves Whale Island, I lied to you. I took you away from him. I took you away from him.
What?
I told him he could not take care of you, and I made him give you up. I made him give you up, bro. That's what he said to her. That's what she said to him. So that's why I tell people it's not the same when you read the manga, because literally, and then that's a moment with Gon where he's like, I know, Mito. I could tell that there was something that wasn't making sense.
So
You know
was
what I'm
all
saying?
the Mito or the conversations in the anime about his mom and like, do you want to know who your mom is? Was that all in the manga?
Yes.
Ah,
And he said, no, I don't want to know. He turned it off. That was there. That wasn't a manga.
Okay.
But the part but in the anime, they did not show that, where literally she's crying and says, Gon, I'm so sorry. I lied to you all these years. I made you up. And he's like, it's okay, Mito.
Okay. To be fair, like I only started reading the manga like where the anime left off. So now I'm wanting to look for all these clues.
Which is fine because I did the same thing, and it was actually on Reddit when someone brought up the pregnancy thing to me. I said, "What?" And I said, "I have to read this whole manga." Like I was like, "I have to read this whole thing," and it's crazy, man.
That's wild.
That would be wild. That's interesting. Like what Paula Martinez in the chat was like, could that be why Jing refuses to be Gon's dad because they're all clones? Like that'd be wild to me. I was like, oh my goodness, like I don't know. I mean, to me, like
the whole thing with Mito saying I made him give you up, that cancels that. Cause like literally, like she's like, I'm talking about y'all. She's in tears and she's saying to this boy, "I'm sorry, I lied. I made him give you up. I took him to court." And the boy is like, "Okay, it's okay."
Look at this man. He can't raise this child.
It's a storm and he has no coat or hat on. We gotta keep him.
No shoes. Well, he does wear shoes, to be fair.
Yeah,
but
like
then,
also
when he showed up with him, he wasn't even like a baby. He was like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old toddler. They were having this is like Roger doing just hanging out after Ace is born. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like we don't know anything prior to that.
And that's why too with the Kite thing in the beginning. A lot of people don't think Kite's death was impactful who are anime onlys, because in the manga, the first chapter is literally him meeting Kite when he was a kid, and Kite saving his life from almost being killed, and then Gon having this moment of seeing Kite have to kill this mama bear to protect the young bear, thinking Gon was a threat. And then Kite saying to him, look what you made me do. I had to kill this mom because you was being stupid. And then Gon is crying and sees the baby freaking out, grabs the baby fox bear, and the baby fox bear is scratching Gon, but he's just holding it while it's scratching him and crying.
That's
And
so sad.
and then
Same like what happened with him and Kite.
And then in the future, and then later when he gets ready to leave to go to World Island, he shows that him and the fox bear baby became best friends on the island. And he says to the fox bear, I'm sorry, I have to leave you now. And the bear is sad and is just like, oh, okay, whatever, you know, with gestures. But that was a whole thing for him. Like he grew up with this bear that he technically got his mom killed. And it's like, and then even when he met Killua, Killua said, why do you want to be a hunter? Well, I didn't know much about my dad until I met this hunter named Kite. And they just took that out the anime.
That would have given way more like context to why he was so angry.
Right.
See, but me, I understood exactly what Kite meant. Like even them showing the flashback of it, I still understood the depth of why Gon cared about him so much. I mean, like I'm only speaking for me as an anime. You know, up to that point, I did not know anything about the Kite being in the beginning, and everybody knew about it. When we seen Kite, I was like, yo, is this Ging? It's not Ging. This is Kite. Yo, he's even doper than Ging because we get, like, at least to me at the moment, I'm like, this dude is his student, you know, Gon. And I was also sad for Gon knowing that, like, Ging actually took care of somebody, but you kind of just, you know, didn't come back for Gon at all. But then I understand completely is like, you don't need me. I know you're going to be guided down the right path, but I need to make sure Kite good. Like I need to make sure this kid gets down the right. Like what if Gon or Ging would have ran into like one of the Phantom Troop in Meteor City or something like that, just traveling around as they were kids and something like that. Like
just adopt the Phantom Troop.
Yeah, out here.
Yeah.
Look at how he reformed Razor. That just seemed like his personality trait, that he was willing to help people, you know, like, and that's why like people really try to say like he's like a terrible anime dad. I'm like, well, there's a lot of ambiguities with that because if you're an anime only, you don't know that technically in the manga it was stated that he was taken away from him, you know, like, so it's a lot of weirdness to it, you know, and the thing is too, I get mad and I hate it because I love the 2011 and I actually think it's perfect. But the thing is, like for example, in the 2011 when Kite hands Gon Jing's what's the name of it, license, right?
You already know what's about to happen.
Okay, in the manga, Kite accidentally dropped his license on Whale Island when he met Gon as a kid, and Gon had that thing his whole life.
Oh,
and see, I understand why they didn't show that in the anime, because if not introducing Kite, if he would have just popped up like, oh, I got my dad's hunter license, when we still haven't even, well, he just got it once we got back to when they opened the box and stuff. Right. I thought that was even cool. You know, I thought cooler.
I think it was cool, but what makes it even cooler with the whole way the manga did it was Gon had this 2-star hunter license and was trying to find Jing and give it back to him, and he couldn't really use it, right? So then what made it even work, what they made it next was when he met Sotos, and he asked Sotos, hey, can anything you can tell me about this license? And he hands it to Sotos. And
that's dope.
And he looks at it and he's like, he laughs and he goes, where did you get this? And he's all like, you know, like he doesn't really say it, but he's like, you know, and then he's all like, well, this belonged to Jing Freaks. And Gon's like, how do you know that? And he goes, because on the back of every single hunter license, it is the year that they graduated, right? It has like their regular code and then the graduation year, like, you know, when you pass the test. He knows it's Jing because Jing was the only one to pass the hunter exam that year.
Oh,
so that's
wild. How he won the exam.
So right. It's time to read about it. Is that what you're telling me?
You get what I'm saying? Like on how good Jing was. He was the only one to pass the year he passed.
And also the interesting thing is we don't actually know his ability yet. Didn't he say it's just a talent that he can mimic whatever he's physically hit with?
Yes.
So I'm excited to see his actual ability.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's so much. I feel like a lot of characterization with even Jing himself was was taken away. Like it's even when he first got on the boat and met Leorio with Karapika, and they showed the moment where the captain looked at Gon and looked at his eyes and thought, "Oh my God, this boy, his eyes." But it wasn't even that in the manga. When Gon ran up the pole and was looking and was smelling the wind and whatnot, when he lifted his head up, for the captain got an image of Jing and it hit him in his face. He was like, "Whoa!" And it stopped and was like, "Oh, this is Jing's son." And it hit him instantly. So like it's like certain things that I think the manga just sort of did better. Like it just made me feel more like, oh my God, who is Jing and who is this guy and what are we gonna find out when we get to him? It was just a lot of stuff to it that I feel like the 2011, if they did it that way, probably would have been more impactful, even though I still love it, you know?
Well, it could have also been due to budgeting and timing issues that they're like,
True.
okay, we have to cut some corners.
Something out, right.
That's a huge arc.
Yeah, that's the only thing with me. I'm like, dang, I really wish that part was shown just because they had a whole conversation, like him and Gon.
They probably did it for the tonal purposes of the series.
Maybe, right.
Mainly because the way Madhouse directed the Hunter x Hunter series is they love giving you these crazy emotional change, like instantaneous changes. Like 1 minute you're in a happy situation, and then literally within seconds, the darkest, most vile thing you've ever seen is happening, like children being eaten by ants and things like that. And I think for those shock value purposes is the reason why they left Kite out in the beginning, in order to give you the mystery of introducing Kite the way that they did during the Chimera arc, exactly the way that they did it.
I agree. I think the whole aspect of Gon having a flashback when seeing Kite, I think is pretty cool too. I do. I love the series so much. It makes me so conflicted because when I first reread the manga all the way through, but that moment where Gon lands, and you know, in the anime, Kite turns around and they don't know who he is, and he aim a gun at them and shoot. No, in the manga, when he lands and Gon looks up and Gon just gets like this happiness on him, and Kite looks and he's like, Gon, and it like just hits him. Like it was so beautiful to see that, because it was like Kite was like happy. He was so happy to see him. Like he was like, oh my God, you got so big. That was the first thing he said to him was, Gon, oh my God, you got so big. And like that reunion moment,
that probably hit like so much better. Yeah, I believe it.
Like dog, like because in the and I was reading the hard copy volumes and I started rereading. And when the Heaven's Arena was like halfway through the Heaven's Arena was when the first Hunter x Hunter popularity poll was done. Kite was top 10. He was top 10, and Togashi even had little side notes for each person in the list for what people were saying. And for Kite, they were saying, "Oh, he's so beautiful. He seems so cool. I can't wait for him to come back." So imagine you going through this manga, waiting for this guy to come back, and then he comes back, and what happens to him happens to him. It's just was so.
You're right.
That's like watching Shanks get killed by Blackbeard, dog.
Right.
It's gonna hurt.
Right.
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. I need to read it. I need to reread. I'm gonna go MIA just reading it.
And even seeing certain moments that were censored, like when Gon got shot by the dude in the hunter exam that was hunting him the whole time to get his badge, and he shot him with the thing and like made him paralyzed, and he like thought he escaped. Well, you know, in the anime, Hisoka dropped the dude's body off right next to Gon, right? But in the manga, Hisoka threw his head at Gon.
Dang.
He literally only had the man's head and threw it towards Gon.
Wait, that's foreshadowing for him throwing heads at Crollo, probably. Just anything. I feel like anything that happens, like Togashi is so good at just doing little things, like the fight between Hisoka and the knife throwing dude.
Get something with a G.
Oh, Goda.
Not Godo. That's the butler. The knife thrower from the hunter exam. He was fodder. The fodder from the hunter exam.
Yo, that's another one that was tossing things around.
It
seems like everybody keeps using the same technique on Hisoka and it doesn't work. Or in Crollo's case, it did work.
I'm trying to remember his name. I can't. He was fodder. Something with a G.
Hey, he was nice in the anime. He was like,
He
shroom,
was.
shroom, shroom, shroom.
It was I just love that manga. That manga hit so different. Man.
Yeah, it was wild. Like it's definitely like I think one thing I do enjoy about the manga is like it's definitely more like it's not a center. It's just not nearly as centered. Like a lot of the fights that are particularly censored, you read in the manga, you're like it's like a Castro versus Ahsoka is wild.
Castro,
Yeah.
that's his name.
The art
Oh,
style,
the
if you
manga, wild.
style, oh my god. It's
You're just
like
like,
so
yo, and like you get why the audience is so shook. They're like, oh, like you look at you see Hisoka, you're like, oh, he looks beat up. Like it's like, woof.
in the anime, he in the anime, I forgot what he did with his arm, but in the manga, when his arm got chopped off, he was eating it. Like he put the size that was cut, he put it in his mouth and was like, oh, this is fun. I'm like, what the heck? Like it was crazy.
Wow.
He's so already crazy, but imagine you seeing that man put his cut off flesh in his mouth. Like what the fuck?
I just know I need to read it now. You guys are telling me that the experience in the manga is a lot. It's the reason why I like Hunter x Hunter. It's different than everything else out there. Like it's not scared of going dark and staying dark, or like here's something else. You know, what was the Bindle? The Bindle was my favorite part of Greed Island.
Yes.
Like I love the volleyball fight. I loved. I didn't understand all the cards. I got irritated hearing the company on all the time, but it was cool. But those two boys, those little boys, fighting this grown man that's literally trying to kill them for 2 weeks in a crater, and then seeing that he wasn't even a bad dude to begin with. He was just this poor little boy and got treated like trash. That sucked.
That was horrible. That was sad.
I wanted Gon to let him go, and when he did, I was like, "Thank you." And we don't know what happened to him, but I feel like, can he please come back against Gyro? You know, like I need him to pop back up in Meteor City at that point. That would be so dope.
Wait, is Gyro now a Chimera Ant?
Yes. So, he gonna be a king.
If that kid faces, he's gonna die if he faces Gyro now.
Oh yeah, I found it. It was called Pregnancy Stones.
What was it called?
The Greed Island card is called Pregnancy Stones. This card summons a stone weighing 7 pounds each. Carrying one of these stones for a month will get you pregnant, regardless of the user's gender. The player can decide the sex of the baby by using either the male stone or the female stone. If you put this stone down at any moment, the counter will start again.
It's almost like Pokemon.
And that's why Gon was holding Gene. I mean, Gene was holding Gon the way he was. He had to carry that stone all the way home, and then pop, here's a boy.
And the stone is shaped like a child, by the way.
Huh.
There you go. He's a nin clone.
Literally.
Wow.
So is his mom the one that picked out the rock?
I didn't know anything about that card, but that kind of solidifies what I thought about.
That if Gon was to say, "I want to know," I think Jing would be like, "You have no mom." I think he would have straight up.
I am your mom.
Yeah,
straight up. I'm the mom.
That's why.
Can we talk about how beautiful that moment was when he said, "Though I already told you that Mito's my mom," and Mito already heard that. It was so amazing. I mean, and it hits even harder though in the manga. Like I said, when she feels this guilt for thinking that she took this boy away from his dad for him to still go after him, and then they hear him say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I love it.
Hearing him say in the anime, like, because I said it because that's like the only episode I really got to live react to, but I was like, man, he's only becoming a hunter because he wants to find out why his father left him, and then he said that. Now with the biggest smile, I'm like, oh my heart, like poor boy, can I give you a hug? He really he wanted to become a hunter, and then he found this love of fighting and pushing himself, and he wasn't like that when he first left that island. I didn't get that from him at all. Watching him evolve into the Gon we see after he's walking away from Kite, after like hugging him and still in denial that he's dead. That's the other thing. He was in denial while we all knew he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
And even we were secretly hoping that Kite was going to come back because of how optimistic he was.
Mm-hmm.
So when we see that Pito says that he's dead for sure, and we know it, that little boy just crying and just snapped.
And that was another thing too. And I loved how the anime did it. The anime did it so perfectly. How they just, hit the despair that hit him. And like I wish they would have that one line that was in the manga that they didn't put in the anime that I wish they put that Gon said to himself. It was a couple lines. He kept saying to himself, I did this. I killed Kite. And then like another voice will go, no, you didn't do this. Pito did this. And he goes, no, yes, I did do this. I'm the one that killed Kite. And he's like, no, it was Pito. And then he says it again, no, I shouldn't have been so selfish. And he's like running, he's telling himself no and yes, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then finally he's like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. And then just snaps. I'm like, bro.
Yo.
I'm like, dog, that's too much. Like he's 12 talking about some, I did this. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. And I'm like, come on.
I think it's also interesting to see a moral breakdown that quickly in his morality, because he asks Frollo, why do you kill people who have nothing to do with you? Yet he's like holding, what's her name? The blind girl hostage.
Komugi.
Yeah, he's threatening to kill her if Kite isn't brought back to life. So it's he finds the answer to why do people kill people who don't necessarily like their collateral damage.
Because he was a boy that only seen black and white, and this whole situation with Pito became so gray. Hit the anime, I was sitting there mouth wide open, just like, whoa, he is hitting the ground. Killua is like, I can't really move too much because if I move and touch him or tell him to do anything, he's gonna yell at me. And Gon was so calm once he said, okay, I'm not moving. You got an hour. Dog, I was like, I don't even got that patience.
He knew in his mind that he would have killed Komugi if P2 had even blinked wrong.
Mm-hmm. You have to, and then people have to understand the mental strength that the Royal Guards have. And so when you think of how mentally strong Pito is, and for Gon's demeanor itself to break Pito down and go, oh no, I have to kill him. He's stressing me out right now. Like for Pito, oh no, he clearly is a threat to Miriam right now because this guy, his determination is too focused. He will not waver. He is too focused. And she's like, no, this is this is an issue. I can't let this go. Like, you know, it's just so beautiful. And how Miriam's the exact opposite. There was two parallels going on in the Chimera Ant arc that moved me greatly. The Miriam and Gon parallel and the Shoot and Nov parallel. Them two parallels took me. Like Nov saying to Killua, don't be overwhelmed just because you saw an opponent's aura. There's more to a Nen battle than aura. And then seeing the aura of Poof, not even Pitu, but Poof.
The moth.
Shower puff.
Literally, he didn't even feel it. He just saw it and shook. It was like, y'all are trying to fight this again. Like y'all went through this already and it's trying to go back.
Yo,
and then
that's so humbling. So humbling.
Shoot, who was so scared, and then seeing Gon and Killer will break past their own interferes and their own things they gotta go through, and Shoot going, no, this little boy really is really showing me the light right now. I need to show out. Like that, those two parallels just, oh man, they just, I don't know how to actually do it, bro. Just,
I will say, I also adore Palm. Like she introduced me to the series, but like how she turned around and like she loves. Is it Nov, the teleporter, who like was terrified of Poof's aura, but it's Poof. She does a smackdown even if it's a clone. So
even at the same time, like while he's outside freaking out, he's like, Palm, don't do anything crazy. I can't come and save you. She is dead at this point. Like wasn't it like happening at the same time? Like I feel like I thought it was like, oh, it was so poetic how he's like, you know, doing this, and we see Palm not becoming this crazy chick, but this empowered chick that like, I'm about to kill myself if anybody runs up on me. And when she even does it, they still bring her back. And to see her, when she wrapped herself in her hair and started giving Killua the hands,
That was a beautiful.
I was like,
Deep
yes,
down.
I needed more of that. I was kind of
Mm.
sad to see her running around teary-eyed and sweetness
Me
running.
too. I wanted to see her fight as well. I
Yes,
did too.
I love that. I wanted her to smack people while protecting Komugi and stuff like that. I would love that, but
Well, there was really only 3 threats during that entire war, and or realistically 4 because of Marowell. But
Right.
there was really nothing more for Palm to do but to do exactly what she did, was stand in the back and pretty much play the role that she played.
Oh, definitely.
Well, also, she handed Komugi, she told the location of Komugi to Merum, and he bows down to her, and that
he
was an
said she was
amazing
the most
moment. Yeah.
beautiful.
Back to you.
Had the best aura, the strongest,
the
or
most
most beautiful
beautiful
aura.
aura.
Yeah. Me
Is that
too.
what he said in the manga?
It was anime.
What you brought up about Palm and the poof thing, I think a lot of people ignore, especially with the whole thing of, like you said, when Nob would say 2 words to her and she would jump, she would move, she wouldn't even think. You get what I'm saying? But then when she literally was supposed to be under control by the ants, she still had her humanity. She still was like, no, I am Palm. And like that whole, I am Palm Siberia. I'm not no Experiment A or whatever they called her. And like it was such an amazing, and then for her to do that and then to look at Killua and go, you're who Gon needs right now, it was just
That's development. Yeah.
Super development.
That whole thing was just amazing. Whole thing. And he's just crying, he's like, please, you're the only person that can help him. And she's like, no, it's you.
Moving to another favorite part. My favorite episode in the whole anime is episode 113. I think that is the Dragon Dive. The way Zeno and Netero comes in, dog. That was the sweetest shit I ever seen in my life.
That might be the hypest moment. That was so hype. It's not even funny.
I don't understand how people could say that the narrator was annoying. Oh my god.
Japanese, the YouTube video that happened all at once.
Yes, it happened in
the
like
palace
3 minutes.
invasion. Yeah.
Yes, that was.
Since we're talking about favorite episodes, my single favorite episode is episode 85.
Which one is that?
That's the episode when Kite was killed, but not because of Kite's death. That's my favorite episode. It's my favorite episode because of the scene of Killua explaining what happened to Netero, Nove, and Morale.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
That scene just it blows me away every time, just because of just the emotion leading up to it with Gon when he sees Kite's arm get removed, he looks back and forth, and while all that's happening, Killua is standing back watching everything happen at the same time, and then has to run for his life. And then you have the 4 or the 3 strongest hunters in existence, or known to man, come walking up, and Killua has this sense of relief, but then at the same time has a sense of doubt. Like, listen, I realize that y'all are on another level, but I don't think y'all can touch what I just saw back there.
And everybody else confirms it too. That's the craziest part.
And Nero says, well, why is Gon asleep like a baby? He's like, listen, I had to knock him out. He was about to attack the creature. Netero, so it was that bad? He's like, bro. And watching that scene gives me the chills every time. It's just something about the emotion that was being bounced between those characters. And then you have Nove and Morale in the background, kind of talking trash and poking at Killua at the same time for running. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's my favorite episode in the series.
And I think what makes it hard for me to pick a favorite episode is because even though I've rewatched Hunter x Hunter too many times to count, really, like, actually I know it's 11, but you know. But like if I watching specifically that arc weekly, I don't think y'all understand.
I watched it weekly.
Okay, that shit right there was ridiculous. Like that especially that episode you're saying, because when you're seeing not only Killua knock out Gon, but not run away to safety, but leave the country.
Left the
He
whole country.
ran.
Word.
That's
for
before he
the
had
border.
Godspeed. He created Godspeed because of that situation.
He was running out of
I
the
loved. I
country.
just need to blow off some steam. That was an amazing moment.
Godspeed. Love it.
What are some of your what are some of your favorite like what are some of your favorite like episodes like or moments like particular moments? I
Requiem.
guess, like,
And
yeah. Guys are-
I'm not gonna lie. Leorio's chairman speech and him realizing that he wasn't fully utilizing himself as a hunter is probably one of my favorite moments. Not because I don't think Leorio was a wasted character. I hate when people say that. I think he's perfectly used, but I think when him sitting there saying, I didn't realize because this is talking about his character when we first met him. When he first met him, what he's saying to us, hunters care about money. They do what they do for money, for the glory, for the fame. That's what they do, everything they do. And Kropik is like, no, it's for order and for the unknown. And and then that whole them two having that argument, but then Leorio having the chairman speech and him saying, I didn't value my friend. I didn't value my hunter license. I was just partying and going to college and messing with girls and he literally says this and he's like, and I didn't cherish my friend, and my friend was out here fighting for other people while I was just doing what I wanted to do for myself. And he was like, so if I was to become chairman, I'm letting y'all know right now, I'm ordering all of y'all to do something to help Gon. Like, I'm telling all of y'all, go do something right now. Why are you sitting here? Why are we not trying to help Gon? Like that whole speech, and then Gon, and then Pearson hoping that Gon would walk through the door, but he didn't. And then later on, he actually does say Leorio, and the tears just hit Leorio's face, and he jumps off the pet. It just is just and they like bro hug and jump in the
for real.
Dog. And then I ain't gonna lie, people don't really bring this up, but I almost cried when that man Gon looked and they pointed at Jing in the front, and then he looked and he goes, Jing, with a question mark. I was like, oh my God. Like, it was like, I knew it was going to happen, but then when like it was there, you're like, oh my God, he's really about to meet him. Oh my God. Like it was so much.
Seeing his reaction, just like him crying and like, Kite's dead because of me. I should have been the one that, and then Ging's face just instantly changed from like, I am stressed right now because I don't know how to handle this to dog. No, this is not what happened. Right. He took you because he thought you could handle yourself and he could handle the situation. He was not anticipating P2 at all. It had nothing to do with you. I was like, oh, good job, Daddy. And then everybody started booing him. And I just love the crowd. That's
probably my favorite moment of it, though. Like the booing, when they would just like, boo this man. Like, get out of here. You all like, terrible dad. Like, yo, console this man. Like, I love that. That one would have me rolling.
And it's so accurate because they were like saying what the audience felt. And they're the audience at the election. It was so perfect because literally he'll go, yeah, so Kite's there, so go ahead and go meet him. And they're like, no, motherfucker, you go take him. Go take him. What do you mean?
So funny. And then he comes popping out with like two dudes' heads in his arm, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the one that taught him how to use Nen." He had a whatever, which one? He had a number. He had a number that kept him from dying. I didn't know which word I wanted to use. Yeah, had a number and Crazy Slots. Yo, I love Crazy Slots. Crazy Slots is my favorite Nen.
I think it's mine too, other than Bandit Secret.
I like it. But
wait,
I feel like
so you think Crazy Slots is what kept him alive?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, without a doubt. That number 3, whatever that Sailor Moon wand did, it kept him alive.
Yes.
It kept him alive.
You can't tell me.
I bet his wife designed that one. That was the he even did the twirl. Yes, it. Like, come on.
He did the whole magical girl pose.
He hit the pose, his hair. Oh my God, I need Girl Kite to come and swing on people with that kite. Yes.
Girl Kite is now a magical girl.
She's the aunt. She's the queen. She's the next queen. Oh, please let it be.
That's scary. And the thing is that that's a like, and she has Kite's full mind and memory.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So really, Kite is the Chimera Ant King Queen.
Yes.
Yep. And sister of Miriam. I didn't know
Right.
that. I didn't realize
Twin
it
sister brother.
until like way after I was done. And I'm like, no, wait, what? Huh?
They're all siblings in a way because they come from the same queen. But
Yo,
now
they were-
it's going to be.
Right,
got-
but they are broken down.
They
into
came from the
their
same egg,
hierarchy.
though.
Yeah, they came from the same egg, right?
They came from the same egg. The queen
That's-
was like
Yeah.
doing like, you know, like reproduction ants, but that birth that she was doing with the front thing and like rubbing her belly in the sickest way, that was the different story. And she gave birth to a human. Like that's even more insane. If Marilyn didn't give birth to himself, because I don't even want to say she gave birth to him. If Marilyn didn't come out when he did, and that happened right after Kite died and P2 ran off and did like the timing. I wish somebody would do like show the timing, or I don't even think there's even a timeline for that. It's just things happening at different periods, and they were giving a countdown to what was happening.
Right.
Because I remember right before that, Killua was running towards where was he going? But then he ran into Netero and he was like, "What is that?" And it was Netero in the field with, you know, his aura just flowing off him and stuff. He's like, "I'm not going that way." Even all that happened right before. I wonder if Netero felt P2 go after. No. I just wish.
Netero knew how strong P2 was just when he scoped P2 out.
Yeah.
When him, Morale, and Nove were initially scouting, and he was able to determine how strong P2 was, and that was when he made it. That was when he determined that P2 was stronger than he was.
Bad move, Lillian.
Oh man, great!
I'm telling you, that's my favorite episode ever. Oh, that is the best. That whole episode, just watching how Netero crafted that whole thing. He was like, y'all plan out how y'all gonna stop the royal guards, but I and Zeno will get in there. And even thinking about it right now, Netero killed 2 royal guards and Meruem, because it wasn't like
it was
Biosphere
all done
effect.
as a result of Rose.
Yeah.
yes, he caught 3 bodies. Oh,
Yep.
With the radiation.
Yep, and another cool thing is that fight, or the situation between Netero and P2 also shows that P2 actually had greater perception of speed than Meruem did, because Meruem couldn't see what he was being hit by when he was fighting Netero. P2, on the other hand, saw what was happening, just couldn't react.
One of my greatest, favorite moments, along with Requiem and Pito versus Gon and Adult Gon, is I really love Pito getting really crazy eyes when they witness the arrows coming down on them.
the dragon dive,
and you can see their eyes shifting to watch every single arrow, and that is just a fantastic moment.
Her eyes go red and go squiggly like Coraline lines, or like Nightmare Before Christmas, and she's like, "Yes, some of the
bring it."
And he's just hovering there, looking like a beast.
They've given us that first-person P2 perspective quite a few times. When she was on the side of the mountain and she was looking across the top of the tree, when she was about to pounce onto Kite, and then they gave us a first-person view, just like you mentioned, when she was on top of the castle and looking through all of the dragon dives to find Meruem. And then when Gon disappeared after his transformation and P2 is running through the hallways in first-person mode, they continue to show us
and the dragon dive. That was another, while she's floating in the air after you in Terrascapa, and she's just floating there. I thought her ass was gonna get wings. I was scared. I was like, no, don't let her get wings too.
Fly.
She hit the legs and her veins and her thighs, and she was like gone. And then as soon as she hits Meruem, and she just turns into like a naked kitty floating through the air, just and he
Like
didn't
a
even
cat
have a
with catnip.
face. Oh, that part right there was insane in itself. Everybody, I held my breath too. I didn't move until Netero moved his hand. Like he was like, because Zeno looked at him, and I was like, "Do we do anything?" You know? No, just move, just stay right there. And then he walked past. Meruem walked past them, and they looked shook.
Well,
Zeno,
because that was death.
Literally, they said we let our guard down. He could have killed us right there.
Yeah, but that actually would have killed everybody. Like literally, the arc over, because Rose would have went off right there at that castle. So that was a very bad move.
Oh, that just made me think of this is not related to what we were just talking about, but Silva coming in, killing Chitu. That was the best. I was so happy about that kill. I was glad to get Chitu out of there.
Ooh, that's a top 5 moment for me. I love it.
Ooh, Zeno and who brought up Zeno versus Crollo and Silva? That fight was amazing.
Yeah.
Too.
Oof. And if it gives you a scope on Crollo's ability, afterwards he asks Zeno if it's one-on-one, who would win. And I believe Zeno says, like, if you were actually trying, you'd win against me. So that just gives you a scope of how powerful Crollo is.
Literally, he was like, who will win, me or you? He goes, me, of course, unless you were actually trying to kill me, cheeky kid. I'm like, what? I'm like, come on.
But I think that that's the same modesty that Netero had or displayed when he told Nova Morale that they were stronger than he was.
I think so too. The only difference I would say with that moment is that literally with Crollo is that I think Crollo really could run it with Zeno and it'd be a fight. But Pito and Netero, I think Pito's getting waxed, high key. Like, I don't think Pito can keep, like, literally, like you said, I think Pito can see it, but Pito can't keep up. Which is the difference with Miriam, where Miriam couldn't see it at first. And then he had to, like, over time, he was quickly picking it back up and was breaking the patterns down. You know what I'm saying?
But P2 would have been on him. P2, that's the other thing. Whereas the fight with Meruem only went down the way it went because Meruem wanted to hear him out, wanted to have that conversation. P2 just wants hands. She would have just been swinging.
P2 was also a lot weaker than Meruem. So like, yeah, she just would have, like, if she attempted to play the physical game with Netero, you're in big trouble. Like, you can't play the physical game with Netero. You have to approach him from an entirely different perspective.
Wear him down.
Exactly, but you can't try to fight him physically because you're not going to beat the Bahitstava that's behind it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Pito's also a baby. They're like only like what 30, 40 years
40 days old.
Old. So if Pito had more experience, Pito hatched before
any of them had more experience. They just it would have been too much. Like, them
and that's not even Royal Guard. Like, even the squadron leaders, like, because if you look at Zazan, the Chimera, the self-appointed Chimera Ant Queen in Meteor City.
Zaza, is it Zaza? Zazan?
Zazan, yeah, she gave Phaeton everything he wanted and then some.
Oh, that is true. True.
Even though I will say with Phaeton, the thing about that Phaeton situation is that he was still warming up. So, like, I'm trying to figure out, what did that even mean? Like, I feel like Togashi really threw me for a loop with that one when he was saying the whole time he was fighting her until that transformation that he was like getting back in his groove. I'm like, what does that mean? He
had the Pain Packer ability, and basically the strength of his ability is directly determined based on the amount of damage that he receives. Now, the problem is that he's not used to receiving that type of physical damage from a human. Those Chimera Ants, especially Zazan, she was dishing out a lot of physical damage just from her hands and her feet and her tail. Way more damage than the average human could expect. Look at Kite. We can pretty much assume that Kite has been in many of fights, but Kite ain't never lost the arm until he came across a Chimera ant. So in Phaeton's particular situation, he's lucky that he didn't die from those few attacks that did land, because Zazan only landed 2 attacks. And both of those attacks, if they were clearly landed attacks, Phaeton was dead.
Yeah, I get
Could
that.
it be-
I'm saying the whole fact of that though, with like the beginning of it, where he was pretty much matching her and was giving her a little bit of stress before she transformed, and it was the whole fact of that he was still getting in his groove. Like they kept saying, "Oh, he's looking a little sloppy." Like when Kaluto was going through the whole process, and y'all keep saying that he's looking sloppy, but he looks freaking amazing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I like that whole thing where I'm like, dude, what is your real quote?
How good is he really?
Exactly. And it freaked me out because Phaeton never genuinely seemed stressed. Even when he got hit with the coal and he didn't realize that she was gonna block like that, he was like, "Oh, okay." Then activated the ability. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like it's so weird to me with how Togashi did that with Phaeton, because then it started having me wonder, like, is how far away is he from Crollo? And then you already know Phaeton's already all about smoke. So like
Facts.
This is why I want to see. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold, so now I'm losing my voice. But this is why I want to see Phaeton in the Dark Continent, so I can get a better idea of how powerful he and the other not ants, Phantom Troop are. Sorry, I'm hungry and getting over a cold. It's 7:40 here, and I haven't had dinner yet. So
you're good.
Do you think he's fighting Hisoka? Like, who's gonna get to him first?
No, either Machi or Crollo. They have the biggest grudge, and like you can see Machi eyeing Crollo, and they're like having a stare down. So they're gonna fight over who gets to get a piece of Hisoka.
I did see the panel for that where he's like, the panel was like on his eyes. He's like, no, I'm like, shoot.
That includes me or not?
That includes me. Yes.
And he has like crazy axe eyes. So
like literally, she's like, I'm gonna kill him. No, you're not. Flip a coin over it. No, because I'm involved.
It's like, no, this is no questions.
Right.
I'm getting him.
Even when Benilonov and Shizuka was like, "We're coming with you." Only if y'all understand.
Are we glad?
We're not really gonna do nothing.
I'm kind of glad Shalnark is gone, though. I'm glad about that. Sitting here thinking about that, because he during this he would have been like fun, but I'm kind of overwatching like radio controlled people. You know, I want to see other techniques because Crollo got me like like that fight with Hisoka was amazing, but I want to see him do other things, and I wouldn't have wanted to see him do that same thing again. And I didn't want to see Shalnark's power again. You know what I'm saying?
Probably has so many abilities to pull from. I kind of want to see him do or use indoor fish because they're in an enclosed space. So theoretically that could pay off. But it might be too much of a repeat from Requiem.
I think
that would be cool though.
So good. I think he'd find a way to make it poetic and work.
Like a homage.
Yeah, like I think he would find a way. I think he could find a way to do it, but also knowing him, he probably got 25 abilities he decided from. So
he's got a whole novel full of abilities.
Right. Literally.
Oh, so I wanted to bring this up real quick because we're kind of just talking about like matchups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, some of y'all in the call or in the chat might remember that Brago D Ace had a stream, a Hunter stream, and it was basically like a bracket, like a Hunter bracket.
Ooh.
And at one point, all right, we had folks talking about Yopi versus Silva, and folks said that Silva would beat Yopi in a fight, and I was just like, I don't understand why we're having this. Like, I didn't get it. I'll I was pretty upset.
There
All
are,
right.
there are,
Yo.
one thing I will say about the power scaling of Hunter x Hunter is people forget that there are psychological aspects to Hunter x Hunter, and then people also forget that these royal guards are untouchable. So like you can't sit here and like you know who Yuppie is? He's the definition of a tank. What is Silver doing against him? Like
All right.
like a punch from Silver
Not a single thing.
wasn't even
Laser
breaking
beams
Solo's
at him.
arm. Solo was able to block a punch from Silver. You think Yuppie not blocking a punch from that doesn't like you gotta that doesn't you it doesn't make sense. Like especially with someone like Knuckle who is pretty damn strong. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't.
Knuckles
I don't know
extreme.
why people say that. Like I don't. That's so weird to me. Them royal guards are pretty much untouchable by regular humans. You can't really just run up on them. Like
Well, all right. So I agree with you most of the way. But I think that Killua clearly showed us that the Royal Guards are not necessarily untouchable because
Godspeed.
yeah, like the thing is that Killua is an 11-year-old. He put a beat down on a Royal Guard for his 10 seconds that he did that could have never been predicted.
But I
Now,
thought he didn't make an impact though.
he
I thought
did it.
those
That's what I'm about to say. He
No,
didn't
that
do
mattered.
any damage. He didn't do any real
he was
damage.
too fast for him, but
Yeah,
he
he
wasn't
was
like strong enough to
fast.
do anything to him.
Right.
And
He
Silva's
didn't
not that fast.
hurt him.
all
Right.
right,
He
no,
didn't
so
hurt him.
no, I'm definitely not defending that Silva can
Oh,
beat
okay.
Yuppie.
I got you.
But
I got you.
I'm definitely not defending it. I'm just saying that the Royal Guards, they're not completely untouchable. It's just that Silva, so based off of what we've seen with Silva and his fighting style, it's physical. You are not beating Yuppie in a physical fight.
At all.
Right.
It has to be. If you're gonna beat any of these, it has to be any of these ants. In my opinion, there's more of a psychological factor because you're not overpowering them in speed. You know what I'm saying? Strength. Well, maybe speed, depending on who it is. But speed. I mean, strength. You're not really
Durability and
durability. Yeah,
overall
durability. You're
endurance.
not outdoing them, right? So it's like they're like bioweapons, basically. So it's like, how do you? I don't like. Whenever I do power
But the
scaling
average Royal Guard, for the most part, requires two very capable hunters. I think any two very capable hunters, obviously with the right nin abilities, because you have to have a hunter. With these particular Royal Guards, the hunter who's fighting them has to have an I win button ability, such as Knuckle with his Glaucoware or whatever it's called. That's pretty much the I win button. All he's got to do is survive.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's my point. That's exactly the exact point I'm making. Maybe me saying untouchable was too much. That's the point I'm making. It's like you can't. You're not 1v1ing them. like it's not. So anytime I do like a power skill with Hunter x Hunter, I usually leave the Royal Guards out of it because they're like a special case. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like including the 5 calamities to me. Like you can't include them. Like they're sort of like a different bracket of threat. You know what I'm saying?
You have to be prepared to die with them. That's basically what you're gonna die with them if you win.
I agree. I agree. Now there's a guy in the chat, Shadi. He says, "So you're telling me that Netero can't beat Yuppie?"
No. Yuppie cannot beat Netero.
No. Wait.
He's saying Yuppie.
Netero cannot beat Yuppie
at all. Netero can beat Yuppie. I don't think Netero's beating Yuppie. I think
Netero's beating Yuppie. I think Netero is not beating P2. That's it. Shaipu can get it.
I think Netero kills all 3 of the Royal Guards.
Nah,
P2 gonna get that body.
That one, Chief. I like
if she can avoid them hands. If she can avoid them hands.
Yuppie's durability, I think we didn't see
too much
fully. So
yeah,
but if he can take 0 hand, no, that's a good point. I don't know if Yuppie can survive 0 hand. That's a very good point.
That's true.
I don't know if Yuppie can survive 0 hand. So
he's not surviving third hand.
Because I don't know the gap difference between.
I don't know if you survive the 99th hand.
If Poofy, if Shia Poof went into that cocoon crap with Netero, he would have got the 3rd hand and got clapped.
Yeah, he would have got clapped instantly, right?
Smush like a moth. Like, so no, he's not getting no. Yuppie,
I'm
Yuppie
with
might.
Shadi and Cat on this one. That Netero, I think Netero I think he would destroy Yuppie. Yuppie's not. He really isn't that
Agree.
smart.
Nah, yeah. See, that's the thing.
He
for
would
me.
blew
Like, I feel
up.
like
He would have
people
been angry.
underestimate, but I feel like people underestimate like his ability to adapt in battle.
But Netero was
Like-
also the special case. Like when I say most hunters or all hunters, I am never talking about Netero.
Right.
He's 120 years old. Like I am never talking about Netero when I say all hunters or most hunters.
But the thing is, I think the only thing I am on the fence is because I do not know the durability gap between Yuppie and Miriam. I don't know the durability gap because Miriam took 0 hand and got a couple scratches. You get what I'm saying?
But
He took more damage than the manga.
He is like super god tier. Yuppie maybe like god. You know,
that's my only gripe. And you know what? I will actually, my brain naturally wants to say that Yuppie's not surviving that shit. Like naturally, my brain wants to say he's not surviving. So like, I don't know. I mean, that's like off the top of my head. I'm thinking that.
Okay, let me say. I'll give my best reason why I think Yuppie isn't walking away from a fight with Netero, is because Netero wouldn't have gave Yuppie time to figure out anything.
True. True.
Knuckle didn't want to kill Yuppie. He was trying to waste time and the whole understanding each other thing.
Well, he only had one way to kill Yuppie though, and that was using Knuckle.
Yeah.
They had to stretch. It would been a complete different fight. Yuppie may have evolved quicker. He may have caught on quicker. He may have done different things. But at the end of the day, Netero wouldn't have let that go past the third hand, probably, or a couple of them hands.
I can agree with that, actually. Yeah, that makes sense.
But if Yuppie was a calmer like him, like, you know, give him like a couple of years or something like that, I think Yuppie could take him. Definitely. But just not then.
Yeah, because by nature, the Chimera ants are just they're on a higher tier of existence than the humans. Like they are just
kids, man.
They're better. They're advanced. You know what I mean? More evolved than the humans. So it's almost like trying to compare your strength or your biting power to a crocodile. Like, nah, but if that crocodile gets intelligence, then we're in trouble. But you know what I mean? So like those creatures are always going to be stronger than humans. I mean, just like you said, in 45 days, they were fighting the strongest, most dedicated nin martial artist on the planet and winning.
Well, they're the accumulation of like hundreds of nen users, and that's why they're so powerful.
Yep.
No, but you also got to look at like what P2 was born with. Like P2 was born with the ability to take the antennas off of that random ant and stick them in the brain of the Pocal kid, and then manipulate him using her nin to get him to talk using her manipulation. Like, are you kidding me? Like she was
manipulated Kite to fight automatically.
To be honest, I don't even think she used manipulation. Didn't she just literally take chopsticks and pick at certain parts of his brain to make him speak?
They weren't chopsticks. It was that fodder ant's his antennas.
Yeah, his antennas. Yeah, she took that and legit was just poking at certain parts of his brain to make him speak after she read the brain anatomy book. Like
but that's also, now think about it. So that's before she knew about nin specifically, because Pocal was the one who actually gave them the explanation of nin. However, her nature of nin was in manipulation. So I think it'd be safe to assume that she said it again.
She was a
She's
specialist.
A specialist.
Oh, she was even crazier.
Yeah, she's a specialist.
But her primary ability was
manipulation ability, right? Yep.
Right.
Terra Scapa. How do you say it? What was the Tepescora?
I don't know. Let me not butcher it.
I just love how she gained empathy at the end of it, though. Like, just to see how she grew. She went from, I want to see how strong I am, to, I just want to protect this kid for the king.
I don't even think Mito.
And I didn't think she did not want to kill Gon, but she had to. Like, she understood. She felt bad for him, and that's why she said, "I don't want to have," or what did she say before she killed him? Like, I don't want to have, or not have to, but I have to kill you for the king.
Yeah,
that was her way of saying, I don't want to do this, but I have to do this.
I think I don't know if in the anime it was said, but in the manga, I'm pretty sure she literally was like, "I'm sorry." Like she said, "I'm sorry, Gon. Like I have to kill you." Like,
oh yeah. I mean, well, I don't know if that was in.
Yeah, she like literally said, "I'm sorry." Like that part, the "I'm sorry" part, I was like, "Damn, what the? I'm sorry."
And that's the thing, right? It's like the way that Togashi sort of like has these very just distinct moments of the emotional like psychological evolution of like each of the royal guards. Like they're just very different moments. And like with Pizza, like that's a particular moment right there. Yeah. Not even necessarily the moment where she's just like, I just gotta protect Komugi because the king loves Komugi and I love the king, so that's the logic that I'm using. But like at that moment, it's like, right, like you're saying, like she didn't have to say I'm sorry for nothing.
Right.
She could have just been like, all right, I'm getting this like, you know, turn the road out of here. Exactly. You're in my way. Get out of here. But Pizza was like, but they were like, okay, man, there's like a very particular semblance of like of growth there, and I think that's one of the most interesting thing for me.
I think one of the turning points I really love about Pito was I think originally Pito did not like Komugi because of her influence on the king, and then finally Pito was like, I love you, Komugi, because you are the person who made Meruem the king he is today.
I thought she didn't care about Pito, or I mean Komugi like that. She didn't care either way.
I think she didn't really. I think she was on the fence. I think she said to Poof, if it becomes an issue, we just kill her.
Right. I think she was just protective.
Yeah,
it was
like, but she didn't bring it back up though.
Like a jealousy.
But well, then you're still right though, because the shift still happened. It went from like a okay, well, she here, my dude, like we're gonna have to just deal with it, to like a, oh no, I need to make sure she's okay, because if it wasn't for you, like I think you're still right though. I think that still was a thing. Like it still happened.
Mm-hmm. Pito was protecting Komugi from like Poof, right?
Yeah, she was protecting him from Poof too, because she knew he was on some BS when they were having that conversation, because she thought Gon figured it out, but Gon was like, wait, how did he know that they went?
They saw him. Remember, he saw them. He saw them.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And then she assumed that he read her conversation, and that's why it was like, oh no, because the way he left, she was like, why he leaving? Because he knows that, or she was like, why is he leaving? Because if he leaves, then he's going to kill Komugi. And then that's when she realized that I think Poof was on some BS. Little kid. And she was like, I'm on my own this one. Exactly. I don't even know where Yuppie is. Yuppie out there doing something. Oh man, I just hate how Yuppie died, dog. I hated that. I loved how Poof went out though. That was perfect for him.
On the road.
Just right there between all them people, just all them open mouths, and so was he, just bleeding. But Yuppie, man, I felt bad because ain't no way he going to getting taken out by Welfin though. I would have been mad if Welfin got that body.
I felt bad about Yuppie because when Yuppie let Knuckle and them live, it was just like.
Well, that was only because Knuckle let him live.
I know, but you have to understand.
He forced his hand.
He turned the ability off. He could have said "dummy." You know what I'm saying? Like he just said "dummy" and it just killed them. But he really went away. That's why Poof and Miriam asked him, was like, what happened? You just left them? He was like, I think or Poof, he was like, yeah, why didn't you just attack when he left the and he was like, it just didn't seem right because of the moral factor. He said
it would have felt like I would have lost some way, somehow, or something like that.
I would have lost, right? You're right. Thank you.
Yes, I remember that.
And like that whole oh man. So
that shows you, I think that shows us that he probably had maybe the least amount of dedication towards the king.
No, he had the
I
most.
wouldn't say
I
not.
think he had
I think
the.
they all had a pretty intense like amount of dedication towards the king. Like
He
I
just
mean, like the
cared
way he
about
ran up
him.
there,
I
right?
think
When he
Yeah,
ran up into
but
that
he,
nuke
but
bomb,
he
like
put in
bro,
He
he
said,
put
"I'm the
in
king's shield," and he did that the entire time. He didn't.
prioritized surviving. He prioritized. I need to be there for the king.
Mhm.
That's what he realized at
if he
that moment.
prioritized
was
being
like,
for the king, then he would have killed those opponents.
no, but that's not what he's okay. Like I get what you're trying to say, but I think the difference is that for Yuppie, he felt like he already won. So
He knew
his
he couldn't beat him.
mindset was, I now need to just get to the king. These humans are no longer an issue for me.
Yes.
The same way he left Shoot there and didn't finish him off, and it pissed Shoot off because he's like, you think you're above me? It's not even worth you coming and finishing me off. You get what I'm saying? So it was like Yuppie's just like, oh, okay, now I know they're not a threat to me. Let me go get to the king. That was like the whole thing for it.
I actually wish I would have got to see Pooh fight though, instead of like running around as little itty bitty Poofs.
Yeah.
And like the first time you see the cocoon and him turn into the little Poofs, I thought that was fine. But after that, I felt like he should have did more instead of like he was a psychological character even from the beginning. But like seeing him fight rocks made me want to see him fight people, and that was the one thing I was upset about because I wanted them actually see a fight.
So I think that the reason why Togashi didn't have him fight people, in my opinion, or fight another hunter, is because Poof was actually the most overpowered of all of the three royal guards, and mainly because of the ability of his scales that comes from his wings. Think about it. He was manipulating 500,000 people at once, turned them all into his controlled zombies, and had them standing there for the ceremony. 500,000 people.
Yeah, but those are humans that are like very susceptible. True. I'm saying when we see him go against
one
somebody,
person, I don't think a nin user with any level of defense can equates to 500,000 people.
I mean,
and I think his ability is too overpowered, and that's my opinion.
I think he was too focused on Komugi. That's why.
Yeah.
He just wanted her dead. That's the whole dynamic. It's like a psychological battle between him and Komugi.
So, like, his battle wasn't supposed to be a physical one. It was just as mental. Oh, I like it. I'm okay with that then. I'm okay with it. I really wanted to see him fight Morel. Oh, can we give Morel MVP of the arc? I really feel like he deserves it.
We can. Yes, we can.
Yes, Morel is
Morel,
he was dope the entire time.
On that one.
You know what I love? You know what I love about Morel? Morel is just so like what's the word I'm looking
chill.
For? Yeah, he's so chill and he's so like he'll be getting humbled sometimes and he just be like rolling with it. Mm-hmm. Like when he was talking with Killua and Gon, he was like, "Ha ha, yo, look at your bum ass," like you're right. And then Gon sort of threw up the John can, and he was like, "Oh,
he
you got me."
sweated. He was like,
"Okay."
Oh, that was when
Killua smoking that bong.
I think that moment's great because Morel made it seem like he didn't trust Gon, but in reality, I think he did that to show everyone else Gon's resolve. Because right before that on the train, Shoot and Knuckle was like, "You think he's ready? You think?" Blah, blah, blah. And Morel was like, he's definitely saving up his pent up all stuff for his chosen enemy. And I think that was Morel trying to show, because they were still like, I hope so. So that was like that moment where I think he wanted to sort of knock out people's doubts, even though even Knuckle was like, well, show him your Jinjunkin. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like it still was just this moment of like, okay, let me just confirm with everyone that Gon's ready for this. But he still was shook by how monstrous Gon's aura was, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that was great. Oh, one thing I wanted to say was like, I think when it comes to sort of like Yopi and like just the sort of like the very the psychological sort of evolution of his character, which is wonderful, is like when he's like there were just these like particular moments. One thing I love is like when we sort of like think about how his sort of reaction, right? His reaction to sort of like Killua just like, you know, going in Killua's like blowing up some steam. He's upset clearly. Sorry, that's one of my cats running around here or something. She going. Okay. All right. So like when Yopi is like, whoa, this Nen stuff is really intense and it's interesting. Sorry, one of my cats is really running. So if you hear something, it's just one of my cats.
No worries.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
The cat's just excited to talk about Hunter x Hunter.
I don't blame
He feels very excited.
the cat that lived a million lives.
Okay, so the thing I love about that is like when he's like there's just such a like joy of just learning and understanding and wanting to like just investigate this power. And it's like usually that power would just like corrupt, right? But like Yuppie is just this great like example of like how power in this sense, right? In this like fictional sort of world, like doesn't necessarily like corrupt, I guess, in a sense. I don't know how you feel about that.
He
but,
evolved,
like, right? But when we think about this other character, what was the like the chicken dude who got his head like yoinked by Killua?
It started with an R.
Ramrod, right.
Ramrod.
Ramrod, he discovered Nana was like,
Bunny.
I'm trying to take over the world. Immediately, he was like, oh, okay. All right, let's do this. I'm ready to take over everything. Like, power, let's go. I'm going to let it corrupt me all over. And, like, Yopi, who was, like, this amazingly strong, like, ridiculous, like, individual was like, wow, this is interesting. Like, I'm not even sure, like, where this can go. But I'm not necessarily thinking about, like, taking over the world or like power or anything like that. I think that's so great, and it just shows like how small like Ramrod is. Like, oh, he's so small.
And plus, how P2 just like as soon as P2 was born, he was instantly submissive to her. Like he knew that like I'm just gonna use my power for them because I am way lesser than them, super lesser than them.
Oh yeah, you talking about where
he got humbled so damn quick. That was so funny.
Yeah.
He was talking all that good stuff, and then he was like, "Nope, never mind. What y'all want me to do?"
Yeah. I don't know. I just like I think like just again like we're just talking about like the evolution of like the Royal Guards is so dope. Like it's just so dope. I love it.
Yeah.
Are you guys cool with how Meruem came back? I felt kind of weird about that because I felt like I was cool when Shiapoof turned into, the elixir breath and then suck stuff, food for him. And I understood that even if P2 was right there, she probably could have done the same thing. And, oh my God, if she was there and did the same thing, imagine how much stronger Meruem would have been.
You talking about as like a third participant?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that he was stronger than he ever needed to be because at this point he was stronger than a nuke. But he was destined to die because the miniature rose and its poisonous abilities. That there was no surviving. There was no surviving for Meruem. And as far as Yuppie, I guess turning into particles for Meruem, I didn't necessarily have a problem with that, and I felt it was appropriate for his powers.
Okay.
Oh man. Should we? I don't know, cause like I know it's like it's kind of late where, like it's like 11, and I don't know. Like, should we end it? Should we like get to like sort of like the end of the stream, or what do you want to do?
I'm losing my voice a little bit.
Yes. Right.
I sound like Yoda right now.
This is probably the end of the stream. It's going for 3 hours strong.
Yeah, it's a long stream, but it's good. So I think like okay, so I think we'll end the stream here, and we'll get together and figure out when we'll have the next one, and
sure.
Maybe what we can do is sort of just like maybe get some ideas from the chat, like if when we have like the next sort of the Hunter x Hunter conversation, like what would y'all want to discuss? Like what would y'all want to discuss? What would sort of the topics be? So all y'all in the chat, just like throw in like your suggestions, That's what and all that. And gonna end the stream. And of course the live chat will always be here, so we can always come back to this stream just to see what the suggestions were, and we'll get into it. And then Roger will be back, obviously. He'll have caught up.
Ooh, okay.
Rago will come through.
Yep.
Yeah, we can discuss everything. Nothing's off limits.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep. Guys, I think this was a great stream.
This was fun.
I just want to say I appreciate you guys for doing this, because I've been trying to do something like this with some like-minded individuals for over a year now, and every time it's fallen through. So I appreciate this.
Well, thanks for your expertise. Yeah.
I appreciate you having me here. Thank you.
I loved hearing all you guys' perspective. As a fresh reader, I really want to read the manga and just figure out exactly all the things that you guys were talking about. This was real fun.
I know, me too. I had so much fun, y'all. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So I think again, if you have anything that you want to plug, YouTube channel, Twitter, all that stuff, feel free to do it. So y'all know where to find me. All right, you can find me. You know where to find me on Twitter. That's all in the description. So I'm not gonna take up too much time doing that. Whimsy, where can folks find you? What would you like to put forth?
Probably primarily my channel. I occasionally I use Twitter a lot. Mainly it's to reblog fan art, but there's a option where you can only view the things that the people originally put out, so you don't have to see my retweets. So if you don't want to see fan art and just what I have to say, that option, and you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or my channel under the same name, WhimsyDearest. And sorry, I'm dying a little right now. That's okay. I got back from a con last week, and I think I got the flu from that. So
oh no. I just got over a 2.5 week stint of that. I lost my voice for a whole week.
'Tis the season to be jolly and sick.
It is.
All right, who's next? Mike, what you got?
All right, guys. It was great to meet all of y'all. It was a wonderful experience. Thank you. Anybody who valued my opinion or my input, feel free to come and visit me at Japanimation World on YouTube, or you can hit me up on Twitter at Japanimation World, or Instagram at Japanimation World. And even on my YouTube, I have a link in the description of all of my videos to my Discord. So feel free to join my Discord server. We got a nice amount of people in there, and we continue to have our anime discussions. Lastly, I am currently reading Solo Leveling live on my channel. So if any of you guys are interested in solo leveling, definitely come and check me out. Read along with me. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate y'all.
I'm gonna subscribe.
Comment and subscribe. Yes, comment and subscribe.
All right, next. All right. Carlo, you want me to go? You want me to call Carlo, or what's
Doncho?
Doncho. I keep thinking about Carlo because Carlo's in their Twitter tag.
It is.
But I go with Doncho. Doncho, what you got?
Doncho. So for the reference that people don't know, when Carlo was meeting Neon, he says, all my friends call me boss, but he says Doncho because that's boss in Japanese. But that's where it came from. So Doncho, please follow me at Chimera Garden on Twitter. Doncho's Hideout is coming soon. I just saw somebody in chat ask for my channel, and I don't have it up yet. I'm sorry. So it's coming soon, but just follow me on Twitter if you like my input, like the things I gotta say. I low-key troll, but I'm funny, so
we love trolls.
I'm all things Hunter x Hunter. I'm all things Jujutsu Kaisen, so please come join.
Nice. And Otakette.
I go by Allie. You can call me Allie because Otakette is kind of hard sometimes. You can follow me on Twitter at Otakette A or Otakette Allie. You'll see me. You can also follow my YouTube channel. I do videos, reactions, discussions. I'm not too good at it, but I'm gonna do more. Definitely want to do solo leveling. Definitely want to do unordinary. Definitely want to do more hunter. I want to do videos of like my top favorite Nens and stuff like that. So I'm gonna be putting up more Hunter Hunter videos soon. So that's what I will be doing. And I thank you guys for having me on. Thank you, BMC, for having me on. I thank you guys for talking to me. I appreciate all your perspectives. And everybody in the chat, thanks for being nice and listening to me. And it's been super fun. So follow me, talk to me on there because I love making new friends. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna get out of here. Shouts out to everybody that came through. Shout out to Dondro, Allie, Whimsy, Mike, my boy Ash, Tails, Roger. Just to everybody for coming through. I've been trying to do this for like a solid year, but I like things I was just kind of like out of the way. But it finally happened. I'm so happy. We're gonna make more Hunter Hunter content. Obviously, we're gonna have more streams, more conversations. We're gonna have just like particular topics. We're gonna come ready. It's gonna be dope. All right. So,
solid podcast.
Right. Yep. All right. So, thank y'all for coming through. This was awesome. To the first of many Hunter Hunter discussion streams. All right, probably gonna have some name for them with Whimsy named the chat the last time we had it was the banquet, so we might do that. We might change it to the banquet, all right.
Dying on Hunter.
All right, thanks y'all for coming through.
Thank you.
All right, I'm the Black Manga Critic. Thank everyone else for coming through. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Y'all were phenomenal. You had so many great comments. It was amazing. The Hunter love is real. Tell folks out here, we're out here. All right, One Piece is cool, but Hunter folks are out here.
Thank you, man.
We're out here. All right, I'm the Black Manga Critic, and I'm out ya.
Peace.
Bye.